diehard fans of our show. No, that's way too intense immediately. Fans of our show. I don't think we can have diehard fans yet.
Probably not. Probably not this early.
Yeah, nobody's gotten tattoos of our logo or anything.
But if you have, please send them our way because we will post them.
Yeah, we'd love to see them. And also, we'd love for you to seek help, therapy or whatever. But fans of the show will know that we recently saw Ghost in concert, and it was great. Their show was spectacular. It was really well produced. And they have been, or at least Tobias, the front man, has been doing a lot of stuff lately. He performed at the it was like a special honoree for Queen, and he sang Bohemian Rhapsody. He performed at Ozzy Osbourne's last concert.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of stuff. They played Madison Square Garden, which was apparently a huge show. But then they did a TV performance.
Right, which they've done a couple times. But yeah, this was the first time on, what is that one called specifically? Is that just The Tonight Show?
Well, I think it's maybe it's like The Late Show, The Tonight Show, whichever one Fallon is, right. Jimmy Fallon. Because that's the other confusing thing is that there's two Jimmys. There's Kimmel and Fallon.
Right.
But no, it was Fallon. And I wanted to talk, have you seen the video?
No, I saw the beginning of the video.
So you saw Jimmy Fallon introduce them.
Yeah, holding the album, standing as far as he could away from them in the crowd.
Right. What did you notice about when he introduced them?
Mainly the pronunciation.
Yeah, so they're one of their singles off the album. I think it's like the second track on the album. It's called Lacrima. I watched a video today where he kind of, the Tobias kind of goes over what that song is about to him and about how much he likes that song. He's on the record of saying, like, even if the rest of the album was just kind of shit, that he was so confident in this one. He was like, no, this was something special. But he refers to the song as Lacrima. And then Fallon says they're doing their live Skeletor Lacrima. And it's just like, is he doing that as a bit? Because...
I mean, he's not funny.
No, he's not. And you and I have discussed this plenty. And all of this was just to lead up to this. Derek, there are many rides at Universal Studios.
Right.
Many, many rides there. Are there any that you haven't done?
I can only think of... No, I was going to say I can only think of one, but there are a couple that I haven't done. I haven't done Dr. Doom's Fearfall.
Is that because you fear falling?
I do.
Okay. I've ridden it. Let me tell you, it's awesome.
Did it straighten your back out?
No, it landed me in this mess to begin with.
Oh my God.
All my medical bills are thanks to Dr. Doom, but I'm still a fan.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
And then
I love Dr. Doom in the way Anglicans love Jesus.
Oh.
It's like, I have zero problem. Right now in Marvel Comics, huge departure from our original conversation, but right now in Marvel Comics, Dr. Doom has the mantle of the Sorcerer Supreme, and he has used that power to declare Earth Latveria, and he has peacefully taken over the planet.
How do you think Jimmy Fallon would have pronounced that?
Oh, Latveria, something like that. Anyway, I, like you, to go back to the original point, I, like you, okay, man, this is going to be the best cold open ever. I would gladly submit to Dr. Doom if he took over the world. Happily. I would do that in a heartbeat. I like his mask, the green, the whole thing. And then back to Universal.
Oh, right.
I know. I, too, will never ride the Jimmy Fallon ride. Hello and welcome back to the Nightmare on Third Channel Podcast Street 4.
where we delve into the horror franchises you love from the perspectives of a lifelong horror fan.
And a newbie to the genre. I'm PJ.
And I'm Derek.
And today, the only thing we're here to talk about is horror. Eventually, I'll work that last bit into a jingle that we can market on a whole bunch of stuff. Today's horror is Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 4, Dream Master.
Yeah.
Master in dreams.
That's what we're hoping to achieve today.
Yeah, a master dreamer. Anyway, this one was on our first rewatch. I was busy, and I don't remember exactly what I was doing, but it was kind of for me playing in the background. And I would kind of pop up every so often and like tried my best to pay attention. And I was like, and this is fine, like, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
And then I said to you when we were rewatching it the most recently. Man, I just wish that this one were better. Like, I wish I was more excited about this. I made some joke and you were like, really? You're not excited? And I was like, no, I don't really love this one. And then I sat down and I watched it and I don't really love it. I stayed by that, but I do think it's better than I remembered it being.
Yes. You know, what's funny is I have a similar recollection basically every time I go to watch this movie where I think I like it less than I end up.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I think it's just coming down from the high that is 3.
3 is emblematic of the series, but it's also kind of emblematic of a horror movie from this period. It's just very good.
Yeah.
This is like, if you've ever seen Lion King 2, it's like Lion King 2 is fine. Yeah. It's kind of straight to VHS.
Has one of my favorite songs of the whole franchise.
Which is?
He Lives in You. The like opening track.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I thought that was in Tarzan.
No.
Yeah.
I wake up every day and I play He Lives in You just to start my day. Because that way I know that, you know, Mufasa is looking down on me and you know, it just helps me start my day.
See, I thought He Lives in You would be more about Jesus or Dr. Doom.
No. It's definitely about Mufasa.
Okay.
It's about a lion.
Your Mufasa is my Dr. Doom is other people's Jesus. I think that's fine to live this way.
Yeah.
Last bit of housekeeping, and this is kind of the last time we get to do this housekeeping.
Yeah, for at least this year.
Yeah. Best of the Bays voting is ending. When this episode comes out, it should be ending very soon. If it hasn't, like, if not the next day.
Yeah, we're in the home stretch.
Yeah. So if you would feel so obliged as to get those little fingers tip tapping. I don't know how to ask this without sounding like. I guess the way we have to do it, and the way I always end up doing it, is framing it this way because I think this is the most earnest. Thank you.
Yes.
We appreciate you. We could not be doing the things that we're doing right now without you, in so far that we wouldn't feel as rewarded. I don't think if this podcast hadn't gotten anywhere by now and nobody had listened to it and it was just you and me kind of talking into mics and then putting it out to nobody, we probably wouldn't still be doing it.
Right.
So the fact that you guys have engaged with us so much makes us feel super happy and super fulfilled. I still stand on record that if you're not doing something and, you know, whatever you do, if you're not talking about it into a microphone and sending it out to the world, then it's useless. So you've made our lives worthwhile.
Yeah. But while you can still go to the Creative Loafing Best of the Bay 2025 website and vote for The Third Channel for Best Podcast. You can also vote for Fly Guy Ty for Best Producer or Beat Maker. You can vote every day until August 20th. So you've got a little bit of time.
Let's do a quick little like a role play back and forth. But I don't know how to get to that website.
Oh, well, are you listening to this episode on any device?
What's a device? Yeah, I'm listening to it on my phone.
Oh, well, if you just look down at your phone at your podcast app of choice and you scroll down to our episode description, you'll find some links that are easily clickable and they take you right to the site, right to, like, you just need to check the box and vote.
Wow, that's really good. I just kept going more Kermit, so by the end of it, I thought or Shakira. It depends on who you ask.
It felt comforting to me.
Why are there so many podcasts about movies?
That is the real question.
Yeah. We are not creative.
My other bit of housekeeping that I have is I just wanted to give a quick shout out again to our pal Lance over at The Horror Returns. Recently, one of their latest episodes where they talked about I Know What You Did Last Summer, both the original 1997 and the recent Legacy sequel from 2025. They every episode they do like a spotlight for a different horror podcast or show out there. And so the Third Channel podcast, we got the spotlight this week.
Oh, very cool.
So that was very cool. It was very nice of them. I just want to kind of repay that with a little bit that we can. I've listened to several of their episodes, and they tend to kind of follow a pattern of they cover a couple movies, typically like a newer film, and then an older one that kind of fits a similar theme. I think one of their more recent ones is a little different than that, but they covered like Gremlins and Critters. Oh, so fun. Like similar thing, or maybe they covered Ghoulies and Critters, but something like that. It's like little guys.
Sure.
And what's funny is, so like they've been doing this. They've been podcasting for nearly 10 years at this point.
Wow.
They have a really big presence on Facebook and their website and things like that. So, give them a follow. We follow them and we kind of try and interact as much as we can with them there. But yeah, Lance is who lives here in Florida. We have, I met him at Disney. We told that story several episodes ago, and, his co-hosts Brian and Phil, and they have a whole cast of characters that kind of swing in and co-host at different times. But they're like all over the country. They kind of, I think they use Zoom to actually record all their stuff.
Oh man, I wish we could have figured out how to do that too. That would have been cool.
Yeah, I got to pick Lance's brain.
Yeah.
To kind of get us to where we can do something like that,
so that we don't have to record an episode twice. You mean?
Yeah, that'd be nice. But what's funny is listening to their episodes. They're very different than ours, obviously. But the closest that I can come to without saying much of anything is like it almost fits a similar like format to a show we used to do nearly 10 years ago together, you and I, PJ.
Okay. All right.
Because they start with like what they call their cool of the week. And so it's like, what's the coolest thing that you saw or watched or did this week?
That's cool.
And it doesn't,
I did not mean to immediately make a pun. Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be horror related or anything. But then they also go into, the latest horror headlines. They do whatever the latest horror trailers are out. And then they give their spotlights and their shout outs to other people in the horror community. So it's really just kind of to build, a better horror community and kind of connect us all a little bit more. So I just want to give a shout out to them. Thank you, Lance. And we've been chatting a little bit recently. We're really hoping to meet up with Lance for at least a night of Halloween Horror Nights. Cause
that'd be cool.
He's local and he goes. So we'll try and find him.
We are now. So it feels to me as though we are now entering into a podcast relationship. Mm-hmm. Our podcast is reached across the kind of arm, rest of the theater seats, and we're holding hands now.
Yeah.
And pretty soon we're gonna put our gum in their mouth.
Wanna suck face?
Well, that's good. That's from this movie. There's a reason I do this show with you. It's because you bought the equipment. So, A Nightmare on Elm Street 4: The Dream Master. Terror beyond your wildest dreams. Freddy Krueger is resurrected from his apparent demise and rapidly tracks down and kills the remainder of the Elm Street kids. However, Kristen, who can draw others into her dreams, wills her special ability to her new friend, Alice. And that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Walker Watch.
Mm-hmm.
I only ever do these when it's unexpected. Just for the record, you gave this movie upon your original review 3 stars.
Mm-hmm.
I gave this film in my original review 3.5 stars. I'm always usually a half, 1 or above, like 1 or below you.
Yeah.
Walker, 1 star.
Wow.
No written review. Yeah, no written review. Didn't like this one. Last one he gave 5 stars.
Well, yeah.
So I didn't even mention it.
Right, but even that is strange for him.
Yeah, because if it's good, he hates it, and if it's if it is like. If your pupils get slashed and then Jason comes out and does the James Bond thing, but he just throws up into your eye, 5 stars. It's crazy.
That is always bizarre.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect with this one. Watching the franchise as a whole, it really does roller coaster.
Yes.
But it roller coasters in the most boringest roller coaster ever. And that it starts high, big dip, then it goes right back up, and then it slowly goes down until it plummets. And then I think, did you ever play Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Yeah, a little bit.
Like the originals?
Yeah.
So, like, did you ever do the thing where you built a roller coaster that was, like, not complete and it would send people flying into the... Did you ever do that?
No, I definitely didn't do that.
You did. We're all psychopaths. But that's what this franchise feels like.
Yeah.
But right now, we can see that that's what's going to happen. You can see, if you're paying attention, you can see out there, you can see the tracks are not complete.
You definitely see it in the next one.
You see a big old spike trap out there, and you're like, fuck, I'm going to end up like Roy Burns. But we're still on the coaster right now.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what to expect with this because the last one was so stellar.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, and like these rewatches of Dream Warrior, I had the Dream Warrior song stuck in my head for a month, and it was a good feeling. And I was hoping that this one would be as good. Looking at my letterbox, we watched 3 and this one in the same night. And so I think that it was like, I think I remember it being like, oh, well, fuck 4 because we had just finished 3. But in retrospect, I think at the time I was like, well, it's almost the same movie.
Yeah, it's similar, and it builds upon kind of the new rules that they built, the Dream Warrior rules that they built in that movie.
But instead of it being several kids with finding their strength, it's one person kind of harnessing the strength of those around her, but it's still kind of about dream powers and like collecting them like Infinity Stones. And so it was just like, I don't think it resonated with me, but then watching it in this way, where we watched 3 a couple times, but then we took a step away from that and watched Friday a couple times. And it was just like, oh, okay. Now I can kind of experience it as its own movie.
Yeah.
And now I like it much more than I did originally.
Yeah, no, I agree. What's funny is the things that they talk about in that summary are the things that like should be the positives of like, we brought people back from the last one, but then we quickly kill them off. And so it's like the really good things that they bring back, they get rid of as just as quickly.
Yeah.
We have a recast of a main character that is kind of distracting.
But it's in the exact opposite. Like, you look nothing like Patricia Arquette. Like, you are blonde and you are a woman. And that's it. Yeah. There are no other similarities.
Yeah, she doesn't look anything like Corey Feldman at all.
Oh, God.
She wasn't wearing the glasses.
No, and how are you supposed to know that it's Tommy Jarvis without his big Harry Potter glasses? I've made this joke before. That's what this show has become, and I enjoy that. Most people will hate it, but I like it.
I like A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, which was released August 19th of 1988. Not as much as 3, but I do like it. Yeah. It's directed by Renny Harlin. It is written by a smorgasbord of people. Brian Helgeland, Scott Pierce, and William Kotzwinkle. Yeah, that's what it is.
That's the craziest one so far.
Oh, just wait until you hear what else he's written.
Uh-oh.
Can't wait. It's produced by Robert Shea and Rachel Talalay. I pronounced it differently last time, but it reads more like Talalay to me.
So we're going to have to find out somehow definitively. We're going to have to find somebody saying it at some point somewhere. Yeah. But I believe it's Talalay. If I look at it phonetically, I read it as Talalay. Not only is that more fun, but it also looks like that's what it's spelling. So
okay. The cinematographer is Steven Fierberg. He worked on the 82 thriller Vortex, the slasher film from 87 Hell High. There was a TV movie in 2003 called The Lone Ranger, which was directed by Jack Bender, who also directed Child's Play 3.
Okay.
He did a psychological thriller in 2010 called 12 that is directed by Joel Schumacher. And then he also shot 25 episodes and the 2015 movie of Entourage, which is a show I've never seen.
I haven't either. I just know terrible things and that Jeremy Piven's like a sex pervert. So I don't know anything outside of that.
Yep.
What is his last name?
Fierberg.
You know, that's you if you become a villain.
Yeah.
I was the Rosenberg, but now I am Fierberg. That's totally what you would do. You'd have the big cape.
I'm going to jot that down just for, for any reason in the future.
Oh my God.
It's edited by Michael N. New. He also edited House in 1985, which was a Steve Miner film. Steve Miner, who directed Friday the 13th 2 and 3 and Halloween H2O. Michael New also edited Night of the Creeps, which stars Tom Atkins.
There's no way that he's one of the creeps.
No. He's like a dad in that
The
movie.
women flock to him, not the other way around.
He also edited The Hidden in 87, which was a Jack Shoulder film, who directed Nightmare 2. Lucky Stiff, which was directed by Anthony Perkins. It's the only other movie that Anthony Perkins directed besides Psycho 3. And then he also edited Man's Best Friend, which was directed by John Lafia, who did Child's Play 2. He's the editor on Spawn, the 97 film, The Ring 2 from 2005, Dead Silence from 07, which was a James Wan movie. And then he worked on several of the Netflix Marvel series.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Like 13 episodes of Daredevil, 14 episodes of Jessica Jones. He did some Iron Fist, some Defenders, all that stuff.
Listen, if he worked on that original Daredevil TV series, he is the most talented person on this roster.
Yeah.
That's just a fact.
The other editor we have heard from before, Chuck Weiss, because he also worked on Nightmare on Elm Street 3, and he works on Nightmare on Elm Street 5 as well.
Okay.
The budget for this film is $6.5 million, which is a little more than last time at like 4.5 mil. The box office it brought in a little bit more too at $49.4 million over 44.8 that Dream Warriors brought in. This is actually the highest grossing film it's the highest grossing horror film of 1988, and it's the highest grossing film in this franchise until the release of Freddy vs. Jason.
I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah.
It's always funny because you see the really good one does so-so, and then the one after that is kind of so-so performs way better because everyone's like, oh no, the last one was so good. You got to go see this new one.
And then, we dwindled down a little bit after this, I believe.
Yeah.
1988 was also the first year in which all three of the top horror franchises, so Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, and Halloween, all released new films in the same year. Because we got The Dream Master, we got Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, and Halloween 4, Return of Michael Myers. Which all of them would hit number one at the box office during, their runs in theaters. The director, Renny Harlin, he did a movie called Prison in 87. It was a horror film starring Viggo Mortensen and Kane Hodder.
Whoa.
He would later then direct Die Hard 2, Deep Blue Sea from 99, which stars Thomas Jane and LL Cool J from H2O fame. He also directed Exorcist: The Beginning, the 2004 film starring Stellan Skarsgård.
I say this a lot, but I think this is the most honest I can be. I think that's the worst movie we've watched doing this.
It might be.
Like, worse than the Hellraisers, because it's like, at least the Hellraisers, you can kind of laugh because they're so confusing. There's nothing to that movie. Yeah. So he's the least talented.
Well, and of course, Exorcist: The Beginning, not to be confused with Dominion, prequel to The Exorcist, which is the recut version of this film.
But with a different release.
Yeah.
That is so bizarre.
It is really bizarre. He also did a horror film, a found footage movie called Devil's Pass in 2013. And then he is currently directing The Strangers chapters 1, 2, and 3. Chapter 1 is already out. Chapter 2, the trailer is out for right now. You can see it. I don't know how I feel about
I was going to ask, did you enjoy that first one?
No.
Okay.
I love The Strangers from 08, I believe is when that movie came out.
We
07,
watched
08.
that together, and I can't recall why, but we watched, you know what I think we watched it for was because of the Triplets of Terror.
Maybe. It may have been that. It may have also been
that the movie was coming out.
The movie was coming out. So, but we watched that, and we watched the sequel that came out almost 10 years after it, I believe.
I prefer the sequel to the original.
Called Pray at Night.
Yeah. It's the one with like the motel, right? I think that one was very good.
Yeah, I enjoy both those movies a great deal. This new trilogy is like, he came out of nowhere and went, hey, I have an idea we could reboot The Strangers and make it a trilogy, and we'll just remake the first one for part 1.
And Peter Jackson was like, and I have an idea to do a feature-length film of The Hobbit.
That sounds good.
And they were like, guys, you're both doing trilogies. And Peter Jackson was like, well, no. I mean, that's maybe 2 parts, but 3 parts is ridiculous. And he was like, add shit to it.
Robert Shea again was just like, let's do it as 3.
It's like, okay. Let's do it as 3. You, me, and my wife. That's 2 jokes. And one of them is Borat.
That's good.
Thank you.
Those are my favorite kind of jokes. The producer, Robert Shea, that I just mentioned, producer on all these films, as well as the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
That was a good bit then to wrap up all that so that everyone knows that we know about that.
We know things.
Guys, we know.
The other producer is Rachel Talalay or Talele, depending on the whimsy that you want in your life.
Here, we'll say it at the same time, but we'll say it in our own way. Ready? Rachel. Never mind. Let's move past it.
But she was also the producer on a couple John Waters films, Hairspray and Crybaby. Crybaby also starred Johnny Depp, who, obviously starred in this franchise. She was the producer on The Borrowers, which is the 1997 fantasy comedy with John Goodman.
That's nice.
And then we will talk about her more when we talk about Freddy's Dead, because she directed that one.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, no. Guys, we think that movie is really good.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't just spoil our opinion on it. We think it's great.
Can't wait to talk about it. The screenplay and story was done by Brian Hedgeland. He wrote a movie called 976 Evil, like a phone number. And that came out in 1988. It's a dark comedy. It is directed by Robert Englund.
Whoa.
I believe it's his directorial debut.
Is he in it or does he just direct it?
I think he's in it as well.
Oh, we got to watch.
Yeah, we got to find it. And then Brian Helgeland also wrote the sequel to that film, which was directed by Jim Wynorski, who also directed Chopping Mall.
Oh, okay.
And then he wrote and directed A Knight's Tale and The Order, both starring Heath Ledger.
Right.
The Jackie Robinson film 42, starring Chadwick Boseman as Jackie Robinson.
Oh, okay.
He directed Legend, which was Tom Hardy as twins,
which is
that
great.
Movie.
I know you don't typically go in for
it.
like mobster stuff. Oh, that one's so good.
Okay. I'll have to put it on the list. And then he also wrote Finest Kind, which is a 2023 crime drama. The other person who wrote the screenplay is named Scott Pierce, but is actually Ken Wheat and Jim Wheat writing under, who are like brothers, writing under a shared pseudonym.
So there's 4 writers.
Yes.
Wow.
They wrote and directed Ewoks, The Battle for Endor, which was the 86 TV movie that followed Return of the Jedi.
Wow. I'm finding out now that exists.
Yeah. They also wrote for The Birds 2, which was directed by Rick Rosenthal.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pitch Black, which was the sci-fi horror film that started the Vin Diesel, like Chronicles of Riddick movies.
Whoa.
The story, this is where it gets interesting. The story is written originally by William Kotzwinkle.
Yes.
And he wrote the only other screenplay that he ever wrote, because he was a novelist.
And this is the one that you told me I'm going to be very interested in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm very interested in it.
Okay.
But the only other screenplay that he wrote was for a movie called Book of Love from 1990. It's a romantic comedy, and it's directed by Robert Shea.
Okay.
So that's already cool. But that movie is an adaptation from Kotzwinkle's novel Jack in the Box. The other thing that he wrote was the novelization of E.T. the Extraterrestrial, the Steven Spielberg film. So he wrote the novelization of that movie and E.T. the Book of the Green Planet.
Oh my God.
Which of course served as the inspiration for the E.T. adventure at Universal Studios.
Now we were talking much earlier about the one ride that we wouldn't ride. But what's the ride that you ride 40 times every time you go there?
Oh, the E.T. adventure, of course.
Of course. You got to get him back home to the Green Planet.
You gotta meet all of E.T.'s friends, Botanicus,
Teakley,
Moot Moot,
Magdoll.
Oh yeah, and Orbidon.
I know all of that sounds made up, but I swear to fucking Christ, if you go on the wiki for that ride and match what we're saying, you're going to be as impressed that we knew that as you are disappointed, and you will turn this show off.
But please vote. The music for this film is done by Craig Safin. He also did Fade to Black, which was a 1980 horror comedy, Wolfen, which was a crime horror from 81, a horror anthology called Nightmares, and the exploitation thriller Angel from 1984. And then he also did the music for Tag, The Assassination Game, The Last Starfighter, and Major Payne, which are all directed by Nick Castle.
What?
Yeah, there are so many wild. I really went out of my way this week to find some really weird things.
Yeah.
As always, the studio first asked Wes Craven for his ideas for this new movie, and he and his writing partner Bruce Wagner, they came up with a concept for this film that involved time travel through dreams, which was, I guess, technically part of their script for Nightmare 3 that had been removed during the rewrites. But Robert Shea and the other producers felt that this was too high a concept for Nightmare on Elm Street, and so they didn't think that it fit the formula for what Wes had done with the first film.
Definitely not.
They later contacted Craven and Wagner to do some rewrites of the script, but they both turned it down because Craven felt that they should have been approached as the artist for the original material. So instead, they went with William Kotzwinkel's Dream Master pitch. And so Oscar-winning screenwriter Brian Helgeland was then hired to write the film after being recommended by Robert Englund because he had written his directorial debut of 976 Evil. The film already had a release date set, but no script, no director, which sounds like a great plan, guys.
Sounds like Marvel's Blade.
Yeah.
But way lower stakes.
So Helgeland.
Stakes.
Oh, that's good. That's really good.
There it is, guys.
Helgeland was hired under the condition that he would deliver the script within 7 days.
Oh my God.
And so he was advised.
Yeah, you just watched the Ring VHS.
I was like, that's all you got, man.
This is it.
You want one last paycheck before you just. But he was advised by New Line Cinema and Robert Shea that if the script came in even a day late, they didn't want it. So he flew home to Massachusetts for Christmas, and he wrote the script sitting at his father's kitchen table, and then FedExed the finished screenplay back to Los Angeles and made the deadline. And then later, Ken and Jim Wheat, under the pseudonym Scott Pierce, were brought in for further polishes. The director, Tom McLaughlin, who we spoke about last week with Jason Lives. So right after completing Jason Lives, Friday the 13th, Part 6, New Line actually offered him the job for the Dream Master. And his one caveat was that he wanted creative control, which he had on Jason Lives.
Right.
But they couldn't give him that because they had already begun filming without a director, shooting like special effects sequences, second unit stuff. And so he was like, yeah, I can't. What are you guys doing? No.
Yeah.
So eventually the director's work was given to Renny Harlin. He had previously directed only 2 low-budget feature films, which was a Finnish action film, Born American, in 1986, and the American horror film Prison in 1987. Rachel Talalay claims that she and the other producers felt that since the audience was so familiar with Freddy at this stage, it would be harder to replicate the scare factor of the previous films. And Harlan felt that Freddy had really become like the James Bond of the series, that the audience actually roots for him. So kind of built him up in a hero role in a way. But there was very little enthusiasm about Renny Harlin from the studio side of things. Robert Shea has said that he had little reason to put his faith in a young nobody with only 2 poorly received movies under his belt. And he was very hesitant.
Coming from the guy who built the studio from fucking oh shit, well, I'll just take a second mortgage on my house because I'm a little guy with a dream. Fuck him.
I know.
Money corrupted him so fast. Robert Shea is now the Mustafa Akkad
of don't this. You say that.
No, I don't like saying that.
But Robert Shea, he admitted that he was hesitant to offer an American horror movie to a Finnish director whose ideas were outrageous at best. And I watched the special features last night, and yeah, he had not some great things to say about the director, but what I will say is he eventually came around to him, which is great. It's kind of a sweet little story. But basically, with less than a year to go before the release date and a looming writer's strike on the horizon, they couldn't afford to waste any time, so they gave it to Harlan. And according to him, Robert Shea rarely spoke to him throughout the shoot, even though he would visit the set very often. He has a cameo in the film. He is around. And Harlan kind of lived with the thought of any day could be my last. I could be let go at any time because they clearly don't like what I'm doing. And by the end of it, the film was once they saw kind of those preview numbers and things like that, Robert Shea actually invited Renny Harlin to come to the premiere with him in his limousine and they drove around because like I think Robert Shea is one of those directors or one of those producers rather who like he likes to on premiere night like kind of drive around to different local theaters and just see the crowds, see who's going to see these things. So that was really nice. And apparently like at one point Renny is like taking a phone call from his mom and Robert's like, who are you talking to? And it's like, it's my mother. It's like, oh, well, let me speak to her. And so he like hands over and like kind of quickly explains who Robert Shea is. And Robert is just like, I want you to know that your son has done an amazing job. His film is incredible. It's doing so well right now.
That's awesome.
Like, it's just like the sweetest little story. The role of Kristen Parker in Dream Warriors had been the debut role from Patricia Arquette, like we talked about before. But it was recast with actress Tuesday Knight for this sequel. And
hold on. That's her fucking name?
Tuesday Knight. Like Knight.
Well, yeah, but that's fucking what? That's not a stage name?
That I don't know, honestly.
Because that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a great name if it's not a stage name. It's a great name if it is a stage name.
She was the person right before Wednesday Addams.
Yeah.
I don't know what that even means. I had to come up with a way to make those two names go right next to each other.
Yeah, I don't see another name for her, so that might actually be her actual name.
Man, your parents are cool, dog.
And producer Sarah Risher said that she was disappointed at the time that Arquette would not reprise her role, saying that she was an integral part of Nightmare 3 and very well liked. In 2017, Patricia Arquette actually explained that they had asked her to come back for 4, but at the time she was starting to kind of break into meatier roles in film. And so she was, she loves the horror genre, but she really wanted to do some other work and try some things as an actor.
Which normally I would respect if not for who her brother is. Because Dewey's in all of them.
Yeah, but that was later.
Yeah, but that's still, he's not like a household name. He didn't do No True Romance or nothing, but I don't know.
Yeah, he wasn't in Holes.
Be like your brother. Just come back and do the fun movie.
Yeah, please.
Oh, well.
Don't disappoint Kincaid and Joey like that.
Yeah. They don't like you in the beginning of this movie anyway. You keep fucking, what does Kincaid say? You keep messing up my beauty sleep?
Yeah.
I love him so much.
He's the best. Tuesday Knight had been the first new actor to be cast for this film other than the 4 returnees from the previous film, which included Rodney Eastman as Joey and Ken Sagos as Kincaid. But they had expressed disappointment that Kristen had to be recast. And Knight has said that she did feel like kind of left out of place on set because of this. Over 600 actresses auditioned for the role of Alice, eventually going to Lisa Wilcox. She had previously auditioned for a role in Dream Warriors, but failed to land that one. And Renny Harlin said that he and the producers were looking for somebody they could make seem timid and vulnerable at the beginning, and then believably like turn them into a kind of Sigourney Weaver in Aliens or something like that.
So what made them change their mind?
Oh, you don't think she pulls that off?
No, I don't think she pulls off either. I think she just kind of pulls off vacant.
Just, yeah. It is unfortunate.
Like, the noise that some people can make. I've never been able to do it, but you can make that noise of like water dripping in your mouth. I was, oh my God, that played so well on the mic. Oh, guys, fuck this podcast. That's all the show
We
is
should
now.
get that leak checked out. This is our house, PJ. We can't.
It's only made funnier by the fact that the last one, like before that, didn't play very well.
No.
Yeah, no, very strange choice because the lead actress just seems like that noise drips into her head all the time.
Yeah, I don't really care for her performance.
Not at all.
The creative process was bogged down by the 1988 Writers Guild of America strike, which forced Harlin and the producers to improvise a lot during filming.
Yeah.
Which is, seems like it. Wilcox and Jones wrote their own dialogue for Alice and Rick after the death of Kristen while they're watching the old home movies. And then many of the nightmare sequences were kind of made up from ideas that Harlan came up with rather than what was going on in the script. This film, I think we mentioned before, features the same car junkyard set that was from Dream Warriors. This set was conceptualized by the production designer Mick Strawn. His work as the art director, and he also handled effects on the previous film. He also came up with the truck crash scene and the kaleidoscope hallway, which is kind of that like funhouse spinny room later on. But Mick Strawn, he had worked on The Hidden, which was directed by Jack Shoulder. He also did work on Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, the 1994 Fantastic Four film produced by Roger Corman. And then he did a couple fan films for Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. And according to the documentary, Never Sleep Again, producer Rachel Talalay recounted a meeting between Renny Harlin and James Cameron, of all people, where Cameron somewhat facetiously asked Harlin how he was going to bring Freddy back to life for this movie, to which Harlin replied, also somewhat facetiously, a dog pisses fire on him and he comes back to life.
What'll it be? Come on, honey. I don't want to be here forever.
If food don't kill you, the service will. The usual. Oh, my favorite. Eeny, meeny, miny. Rick, you little meatball. I love soul food. Bring me more. Your shift is over.
Listening to that along with our audience just now makes me smile, because if they've never seen this movie, they have zero context. And so he goes, bring me more. And there's all the spooky music in the background. And then all of a sudden it just cuts to like fucking, I think it might be like Sade or somebody.
It's Sinead O'Connor, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh shit, that's so much fun. But there's no explanation as to why.
No. They also are not looking at the like most disgusting thing in the whole movie to me.
No, they are. They are, for sure. It's the most disgusting thing in almost any movie. And I can't quite put my finger on it.
I do not know why. Because last week, or the last Nightmare movie we talked about like the veins being pulled out of the arms.
This is so much worse.
The holes in the arms. Those are awful. Those are things that stick with me forever. But like, this disgusts me in a completely different way.
It's like, it kind of gives me existential dread. I don't know what it is. Speaking of the most disgusting pizza in the world, for those of you who don't know, Derek and I, my co-host of the Third General podcast, we live in Florida, which is in many ways the worst state possible. And if you don't know, the now president once called our governor Meatball Ron. And every time Freddy says, you're like a little meatball, Rick, I think, why couldn't that character's name have been Ron? You're a little meatball, Ron. It would have been so much funnier. The other thing I noticed about that clip is that when our lead actress plays a dead-eyed old woman, it's the most believable performance she gives the entire movie.
Yeah, that moment always makes me think of there is an episode of the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh, okay.
It's one of my favorite episodes, probably of the entire franchise.
Sure.
But the girls leave school. And they do like a race. They want to see who can make it home faster.
Okay.
And so they take off at super speed, and they go so fast that they go into the future.
They Superman.
Right. Yes. And then they stop their race, and they look around, and like Townsville is like just destroyed. And they go back to the school, and they're like, whatever the teacher's name is that I can't think of right now.
Yeah.
Miss Honey, maybe. They ask her like what happened, and she is standing there, and she's just like, and I was just standing there waving goodbye. I was just standing there waving goodbye. And that's all she'll say. And that's what this scene always makes me think of. It's just like Alice is stuck in this loop of just, she is the older version of herself stuck in this diner forever.
That's from Powerpuff Girls?
Yeah. It's a really dark, because the hymn takes over after they have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Him always reminds me, and I don't think this is unique in any way, but always reminds me of Tim Curry.
opening credits for this one does not start with a Dawkins song.
No.
It actually starts with a song sung by Tuesday Night.
Really?
Yeah, a song called Nightmare, which she did, I guess, for the movie, but didn't realize it was going to be used like as kind of the title track of the whole thing.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
And it's kind of similar, like opening credit sequence here of like kind of black background and like hands doing things, but I don't like it quite as much as Dream Warriors.
Yeah, no. The reveal of the paper mache Nancy house is it's interesting, but it also adds a layer of mystery right from the jump. But this is neither. This is like kind of weirdly juvenile. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And like I like where we end up once we get to the actual dream, but yeah, it's hands drawing with chalk and they reveal themselves to be, you know, this little girl, one of the dream girls, you know, that normally pop up in, you know, Freddy's whole thing.
Do her little rhyme.
And she's drawing Nancy's house, for lack of a better, you know, 1428 Elm. And we have to be told that this is Kristen who walks up, and like they do like an introduction, I believe, at that moment. Or it definitely comes later with the beach scene.
Yeah.
But you know, it's this question of, you know, well, who lives here? Is this your house? You know, is Freddy home? And we very quickly realize we're standing on the stoop of 1428 Elm, and it is dilapidated and boarded up and looking horrible.
It is very similar in that it's like the little girl, except in this one, the little girl doesn't turn into a horrific spooky skeleton.
Yeah, and I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
There's no skeletons in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess not. Well, okay, no, there is.
Oh, God.
And we'll get there.
Okay. Got to prepare myself. But
it's right now.
Oh, God. But a storm starts. Kristen goes up to the front door and opens it, and inside the house is just like also horrible.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
like the third act of the last movie. It's like dilapidated. You see like broken windows and like dead foliage inside, and the wallpaper is all destroyed. And it's disgusting.
But they do one of those like cool dream things that I like, where she's looking and this tricycle falls, it like tumbles down the stairs. And so she turns to leave. And as she goes out the front door, she immediately enters back in like the mirrored version of the house. And so now the stairs are on the other side, and she still sees the trike tumble all the way down.
The tricycle tumbles up the stairs.
Yeah. Because that's dream logic.
Yeah. It's a Jamiroquai music video.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's all the same. Freddy's all the same, but his hat is big and like fuzzy. Nobody's gonna know what we're talking about right now.
No, not at all. But the windows explode in and sending her flying into the next room, which windows exploding is like a reoccurring image in this film. Yeah, it happens several times.
Who's Freddy? Jason?
But she ends up in Freddy's boiler room, and she is surrounded by chains, which is one of like two things in this movie that make me think of Hellraiser.
Yeah,
and we'll get to the other one here shortly.
But yeah, she's walking, and you can see like her hackles are raised, like she's worried, and so then it cuts.
Because like you hear some of the like kind of telltale signs that Freddy's around,
the
like
metal scrape, which by the way is. I don't know why they keep using that fucking sound. I guess it's because the whole point of the movie is to be unnerving, but it's like, man, that bothers me.
Yeah.
It feels too invasive.
No, I get you.
But she thinks that Freddy's back, and I think that that's a fair assumption to make. And the camera cuts to the one, the only, Thomas Kincaid, the painter, and he's sitting.
And he's working.
Yeah.
He's burning the midnight oil, if you will.
He's painting scenes that change color with certain light to make it illuminate. Yeah.
He's putting hidden Mickeys in there.
There was a Thomas Kincaid gallery at Citrus Park Mall when I was young. Like, malls were a weird place, but it was like you could buy original Thomas Kincaids in there. And it was strange, but we loved going there. The kids, like me, my brother, and my sister, we loved going there because it was a gallery. But if parents were walking around with their kids, the kids got free fucking Oreos.
Oh.
So every time I think of Thomas Kincaid, I think of Oreos. And I'm stiffen.
That's the best story ever.
Yeah. So Kincaid is sitting at like a desk, and you can tell he's like kind of drowsy. And then in like the weirdest visual ever, he leans back in his chair and then it's like, and he gets sucked through the opposite wall and just like, it looks like Mario jumping into a painting in Mario 64.
Which is the example you gave for Nancy being pulled into the dream in Dream Warriors.
There it is.
But this is far more comical.
It is. Because like the guy who plays Kincaid has like the craziest voice. It is so unfitting to his face.
Yeah.
He's like a bigger kid and his voice is like, Kristen! And it's so weird. But he's just like, he gets dragged into the dream.
Yeah. And so does Joey. And we meet back up with the three of them. And they're not happy to see her at all.
No, and it's like their reaction is one of like, you need to stop doing this. Not don't do this anymore. It's like annoyance that it's happening a lot lately. But she's like, guys, Freddy's back, and they're like, fuck off, let us sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're standing in front of like the boiler, and Joey, gives this line of like, Freddy's gone, the boiler is closed. See, when they open it up, who turns out to be Kincaid's dog, leaps out and bites Kristen's arm. And then whenever they wake up, Kincaid looks across and his dog has like blood in its fur under its snout, and Kristen's arm is actually cut.
That dog is a piece of shit.
What?
That's the story of this movie, is that not all dogs go to heaven.
Yeah.
Because his dog's an asshole. Dog's name is Jason, by the way. You know what Jason would do with that dog? Nothing.
Yeah.
But Michael.
Yum, yum. Kristen Parker is played by Tuesday Knight in this film. She also plays a version of herself in New Nightmare in 94. She was in the psychological thriller The Babysitter with Alicia Silverstone. She was in the psychological thriller The Fan, which starred Robert De Niro and Wesley Snipes.
What?
And then she also was in a comedy drama from 2001 called Daddy and Them, which was written, directed, and starring Billy Bob Thornton. Also starring Laura Dern, Andy Griffith, Ben Affleck, Jamie Lee Curtis, Walton Goggins, and Jim Varney in his final on-screen role.
Are you telling me that this movie has baby Billy Freeman, Laurie Strode, and Ernest?
Yeah.
This is the end of this episode. The next time you hear us, we'll be talking about this film. And then every episode from here on out, we'll be talking exclusively about this film.
That was one of the wilder things I found out there.
Crazy.
So the next day, Kristen goes to pick up her friends Alice and Rick for school. Their dad is just awful.
Yes. Well, he's awful, and then Rick is awful. They're all awful. Everyone's awful. Alice is this brain dead Quaker, and then Rick is like, her brother Rick is like fucking spiky haired sex pest, and then the dad is like so clearly like one set of peeking eyes looking away from just beating the shit out of his children.
Yes.
He is so filled with rage.
And alcohol.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, we know that for sure.
Well, at this point, it's an assumption.
Yeah, it's just an assumption at this point in the film.
It's a great performance because you can smell the booze on his performance.
Yes. Okay, that is a good point about kind of in the same way that we figured out, I enjoy Friday, the final chapter, more than Jason Lives because of the characters. So not to the same extent, because I still like Jason Lives more than I like this movie, but the biggest difference to me between Dream Warriors and the Dream Master is I love the characters in Dream Warriors, and I don't care for most of the characters in this film.
Well, yeah, because you have a one-to-one comparison for a lot of the characters, and like the obvious one-to-one comparison between this dad who's got problems with his kid and is also a drunk. When you go across into Dream Warrior, obviously that role is an amazing reappearance of John Saxon.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Nancy's dad, and he's great.
He's the best.
He's great at playing a cop in 1, and then he's great at playing a drunk dad who drives around in a truck in 3.
Yeah. I believe the day that we're recording this is actually his birthday.
John Saxon. Is he alive? Or is it like a celebration of his birthday?
He passed away a few years back. Sorry to bring us down like I tend to. But they go to school, and we're kind of quickly introduced to the rest of our cast of characters here. Alice Johnson is played by Lisa Wilcox. She was in Gimme an F, which was that cheerleader comedy movie that also starred Jennifer Cook, who was in Friday 6. She also reprises her role in Nightmare on Elm Street 5 Dream Child, and she was in a movie called Watchers Reborn, which was a horror film directed by John Carl Buechler and starring Mark Hamill.
Wow.
Buechler we'll talk about next week, I believe, with Friday. And she was also in a horror film from 2018 called The Church, starring Bill Moseley and Clint Howard.
The two weirdest looking people in show business.
Yeah.
And by the way, the pun that I immediately thought of is I will give her an F. That's her score in this movie. She gets an F.
Her brother, Rick Johnson, is played by Andrus Jones. He was in Sorority Babes and the Slimeball Bolorama.
Is he the slime ball?
Yep.
Yeah.
He which is in 1988 horror comedy that also stars Linnea Quigley, who Linnea Quigley is in this film as one of the bodies that is like pushing out of the Freddy chest.
Yeah.
He was also in the thriller Far From Home, which is a thriller from 1989 that starred Drew Barrymore. The Demolitionist, which is a sci-fi action horror film that's directed by Robert Kurtzman and starred Heather Langenkamp and Tom Savini.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wait, starred Tom Savini?
Because he acts as well.
Yeah, but I forget that he does. That's so much fun.
Yeah. Debbie Stevens is their like workout obsessed friend. She is played by Brooke Thies. She did a lot of TV work, including Just the 10 of Us, which was a sitcom that also starred Heather Langenkamp. And then she did an action movie called The Alternate and another action movie called Quicksand. And she was in Halle Berry's Catwoman.
What?
Yeah. Their other friend, Sheila Kopecki, is an asthmatic who is like a, I don't know, very, very intelligent, wants to be a doctor.
Yeah.
An inventor, if you will.
Classic 80s nerd character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Played by Toy Newkirk.
Her name is Toy?
Yeah.
Weird. Tuesday Night, Toy Newkirk. These are weird fucking names.
She did sporadic TV work and then a crime drama from 2001 called 100 Kilos. And she was in another crime action film in 2003 called Tapped Out that starred Coolio. She hasn't done a whole lot of stuff.
And then we meet, because of all the names in this movie, the actors' names, then we meet the jocks. And the first one's name is Jingle McCringle. And the second one is named like Lemmy Toaster.
Yeah. Those are my favorite characters in the whole thing. But they make it to school. And other than kind of introducing us to those little character beats from these people is like the only other thing is that, Sheila has asthma. And Debbie is scared by a bug that happens to be in her food.
It's funny because basically this sequence serves to foreshadow their very basic characters' fears so that they can be murdered with them, because that's what these movies do.
Yeah.
But the thing that I think is funny is that Sheila's is not a fear. She has asthma. And then the workout girl, whose name I've already forgotten again.
Debbie.
Debbie, great. Debbie, her big air quotes, her fear is that she's eating like chicken nuggets from a bag, like a greasy paper bag, because it's the 80s. Everything's cooked in animal fat. And she goes to grab one and she lifts it up and she goes, ew. no, and there's a cockroach on it. And so she drops it. And it's like, is that her fear? Because, dude, I'm telling you right now, if I'm anywhere and I'm eating food and I pull a piece of it up to eat with my fingers and there's a fucking roach on it, I'm going to scream like a toddler. I'm going to hate that.
Yeah.
I don't think that makes me necessarily like, that's not my greatest fear.
Yeah, no, that is how Freddy would then kill you.
God damn it. I'm going to turn into a fucking bug.
You better not have it happen in front of him, is all I'm saying.
Oh, he's there this whole time?
Yeah, he's hanging out.
Oh.
The other person that's introduced is Dan, and we'll go more into him later because right now he's literally just like kind of a cameo. But this is our first kind of little sequence where Alice is shown having like a daydream, like where she fantasizes about like doing something that she would never do as her timid self.
Yeah, she sees this football player and she has a daydream where he kind of walks up and like sticks his thumb in her mouth and like roots around in it. And he's just like, you got a good mouth. And then she wakes up and he's way over there and everyone's like, why is your mouth open? And she's like, shut up.
I got a good mouth.
The next, where we go next, by the way, are you buckled in?
Yeah.
We're getting to the spooky.
Oh,
it's right around the corner.
Oh my God.
Please continue.
Yeah, there's a quick scene that we don't really need to go into back at the Johnson house where we just continue to establish that their dad is terrible and a drunk.
Yeah. She has a daydream about killing him.
Yep, pretty much. But they have this is where we establish her mirror in her bedroom.
Yeah.
And we establish that Rick does karate.
Yeah, he does fucking karate in his bedroom.
And she has a mirror that is covered in photos of all of her family and friends because she does not want to see herself.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to look at me either. The fucking Flash Thompson, Spider-Man 1. Rick is doing karate and he does this thing that annoys the fuck out of me. It's not important at all, but he bows to his punching bag. It's like, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
He was a really big fan of the Karate Kid.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, and at the school, Rick is kind of shown with his girlfriend, Kristen.
Oh, right.
And they meet up very briefly. They meet up with Joey and Kincaid, who are like, you need to fucking leave us alone when we go to sleep. Like, leave us the fuck alone. And then Rick walks up and he's like, hey, what's up, bros? And they're like, oh my God, fuck off. And then Joey's like, we'll talk later. And he leaves. And fucking, he's like, man, your friends are spooky. And like, that's his energy. He's like, really big neck movements.
It's weird. And I can't put my finger on like what it reminds me of.
It reminds me of cocaine. Just bottom dollar. It reminds me of that guy's got that Bolivian marching powder slapping him in the brainstem.
Wow. Speaking of Kincaid, that is where we go next. I think this is what you were insinuating.
Yeah. So this is my favorite part of the movie. It's also my least favorite part of the movie. Kincaid is laying in bed playing darts out of a baseball mitt.
Right. As everyone does.
As everyone does. His dog, Jason, comes up and he's like kind of nodding off. He closes his eyes. He opens his eyes and he's in the trunk of a car. And he's like, what the fuck? So he uses, and it's not clear to me if he uses super strength.
I mean, yeah, at this moment, maybe not. I think he almost has to regain it because he does move a car here in a second.
Well, yeah, everybody can do that if their baby's in danger, and Jason's his little dog baby. This is the stupidest thing in the world. I love this movie for what it is, but this is really stupid.
You don't like this?
No, it's stupid in the sense that it's not funny. Like it doesn't. I don't enjoy it. It's not like. We talk about all the time that, you know, there's Jason X, Jason Goes to Space, and that's stupid and it's funny.
And it's great.
All right. And this one is just like the whole plot of this film, no matter how good the film gets later on, you are now tied to this moment. This is your anchor point for the film because the entire conflict of the film is based around the fact that Kincaid's dog,
right,
like digs at Freddy's fucking bones in the middle of this giant like junkyard where John Saxon and Dr. Gordon from the last movie go, and he digs up the bones. Kincaid's like, Jason, stop. And he like growls and snaps at him. And then he lifts up his leg and he pisses a stream of fire onto Freddy's bones.
Yeah.
Now my assumption is that the piss desecrates his bones because the consecration is what stopped him. So desecrating him might bring him back.
Makes the most sense.
But here's my problem. When Dr. Gordon and John Saxon went to the like car graveyard, they were in real life. This is the dream. So what?
So where are we?
How is this happening?
Huh.
But so the dog pees on Freddy's spooky skeleton.
Oh God, I did forget.
And then back to it being one of my favorite parts of the movie. In one of the most amazing. It's so easy to tell how they do it. It's so easy to tell.
Oh yeah.
They melted a dummy made out of wax and plastics, and then they did it in reverse.
Yeah. But
it looks so good. Freddy literally stitches his body back together from his bones. And then you see kind of like he grabs his hat and dusts it off and puts it on and stands up. And it's clearly ADR'd. His mouth isn't moving, but I don't fucking care because it's the most metal line that Freddy may ever deliver. He's like, "You shouldn't have buried me. I wasn't dead." And it's just like, oh shit. And then Freddy like you pan out, you're on a giant planet full of cars, and then Freddy's like, and stabs him in the guts. And Kincaid wakes up, and then he dies from allegedly a heart attack.
Yeah, and it like that little moment whenever he dies in bed and like his dog crawls up like to check on him, like is sad.
It's sad, but it also makes me angry because like, fuck off, Jason. You're the reason he's dead now. I assume in every dog's dream lies a vision of pissing on Freddy's bones.
That's true.
We then go to Joey, our favorite deaf mute, I guess mute.
Mute, yeah.
Yeah, our ex-deaf mute.
Before we get too far, I just want to say that is the other the skeleton coming back to life and the skin growing back on him and all of that.
Right.
Is the other thing that's very Hellraiser.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm sure they saw that and were like,
Jesus,
we could do that. Yeah. But yeah, then we move on to Joey, who is also,
pervert.
he's hanging out kind of like
Glenn.
Yeah.
From the first movie, Johnny Depp's character.
Very similar.
That's exactly what I thought too. He's sitting there listening to music. Granted, he's not holding a TV in his lap, but that's so weird. But he's in his waterbed because Joey has a waterbed. And he's, again, it's important to note, he's a sex pervert. Remember everyone from Dream Warrior? He's the sex pervert that gets lashed to a bed frame by sexy nurse tongues that get shot out of her mouth like a cannon.
Oh, I remember.
Because he's a sex pervert. And so he's a sex pervert and he's laying in bed like a sex pervert. And he looks up and he's got this poster of like a bikini swimsuit model.
Yeah.
And then he is like, something happens and like the bed starts rocking. So he looks and he's like, what? And he pulls the covers back and there is a busty nude blonde woman swimming in the very well lit water from his waterbed.
Yeah.
He looks up and the girl on the poster is gone. And he's like, well, I'm a sex pervert. And she's looking at him like, get down here and fuck me. So he's like, you know what? All right, I'm going to do that. And then she like kind of goes like sinks a little deeper. And then a clawed gloved hand bursts from the water and grabs him. And then Freddy says some one-liner that I've already forgotten.
How's this for a wet dream?
Okay, there it is.
Right? It's good.
Did you make that up or is that actually
No, that's what he says.
Because you could have. You could have like, don't rock the bed. And it would have been like, that's about it. But he kills him by stabbing him also. And then he kind of like thrashes around in the water with him. And then all the water turns bloody. Now, here's my problem with this whole sequence. And I talked about this the other day.
Yeah, you did.
So he stabs Kincaid. It's the first death of the film. Kincaid wakes up in bed, clutching his chest, and then he dies. So it's like, okay, you establish immediately if Freddy kills you in the dream, it's one of those movies where you die in real life, but you die in a way that is sort of
indicative
rational.
Of, yeah.
It's, the guy getting hanged in the prison cell in number 1 translates to, it looks as though he hanged himself. But then with Joey, his mom walks in. And by the way, his mom talks like a hick. And it's super weird. She's like, come on now, Joey. You're going to be late for like the sheriff in Friday the 13th part 5. Like, come on, Joey. Jason's back. And you got to get up out of this bed. And she pulls the covers back. And he is like floating underneath the like rubber of the waterbed, which I don't know any waterbed to be clear, but whatever.
Yeah.
He's like floating underneath it. And the mother screams. But it's like, okay, how do they explain that one?
Yeah, because the rest of them, I feel, when we get to see like the bodies afterwards, they do more. It's closer to how Kincaid dies. Like Sheila, it's like she dies of an asthma attack. And I'm trying to think of any others that we kind of see they get to play off. Oh, I mean, Kristen, she's burned in the dream and she burns So
Right, but Freddy burns, and oh my god, we'll get here because we're close.
Yeah.
And it's the funniest fucking thing in the movie. It makes me laugh like a maniac every time. But yeah, it's very bizarre. It's also, that's another similarity with Joey and Glenn, is that Joey also dies in bed in a way that is almost impossible to explain. Now, I think if I had to pick, and it's hard to pick how you'd be willing to die, but I think if I had to pick on how I want to die, I'd rather die how Glenn dies, because turning into a giant fountain of blood means whatever it is, it happens fast.
yeah, and it's metal. AF.
Love God. But yeah. So that's how those characters are dispatched.
Very, very quickly.
And it's the next day at school.
Kristen and Alice kind of have a little moment where they talk about dreams and not sleeping well. And Alice brings up the idea of a dream master.
Which is a weird concept to frame it this way.
Yeah.
You could just as easily have been like, yeah, I daydream and I have a lot of control over my daydreams. I kind of have like mastered dreams. And it's like, there you go. But she's like, it's the rhyme. It's like, have you ever seen a lassie go dream master, whatever? And it's like, I can't remember the children's rhyme, but they take a children's rhyme and they just change it to throw dream master in.
Yeah, pretty much. Because as more and more of that rhyme is revealed, it's just like, isn't that just like the Lord's Prayer? What are we doing?
Now I lay me down to sleep. That's what it is. Man, Christians hate this series.
Yeah, for good reason.
Because fucking Dr. Doom.
But they go into the classroom and Kristen freaks out because she sees that Joey and Kincaid's desks are empty.
Yeah. And she freaks the fuck out. She's like screaming.
And like flails back and hits her head on the wall, knocking herself out, where she then wakes up to clearly Robert Englund dressed as a female nurse.
It is as funny to me as the fact that, and what's funny is that this observation kind of came way later, because I've seen Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight a million times. And I never really put it together that how the fuck does Harvey Dent not recognize the fact that it's the Joker behind the mask, because he's still got all of the makeup on and you can see his green fucking you can see his green hair sticking like out from under the wig he's wearing. It's like, how did you not know? Like, you clearly didn't want to see this. It's like, that's Robert Englund.
Yeah.
That's Robert Englund in a wig. I guess I've never seen him not horribly burned.
Right. It always takes you a second of like, oh, right, that's not how you look. But like, again, I just think he's having a ball.
He loves this. He loves his character so much.
And
it's why it's impossible to fucking replace him. You cannot replace somebody who defined a role because of their love of it. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
Or if you do it, you have to make it totally different. You have to make it totally your own, not the way that the remake did it.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he's like, and then he does a thing where it doesn't even matter. They do some special effect that leads to nothing. He's in a nurse's gown, like a nurse's coat, like a white outfit. And then it's like, and he faces away from her, and then like 4 slashes appear on his back and start bleeding.
Yeah.
But then he just turns around and he's just in the Freddy sweater with the hat on.
It's not even like he takes it and rips it off or anything like that would be cool.
He literally 180 spins and he's in Freddy's costume. And he's like, he says
it's basically Wonder Woman. He just spins around. The costume appears.
And he's like,
he gets in an invisible jet.
He's like, Kristen, you have to die in your sleep.
We have enough blood to fill the Nile.
Speaking of, he says some one-liner, and then he's got a syringe that is filled with blood out of a needle, and he just squirts it at her, and then she wakes up.
Actually in the nurse's office.
Yeah.
Yeah. We cut to like where Alice and Debbie work is a diner called the Crave Inn.
Which is great. I bet he didn't appreciate that.
Yeah, who knows?
But then moreover, I love this movie, how it does this thing where it subverts your expectation in this way where like you expect to focus on interesting people and interesting characters. And it's like, nah, let's go over here to Boring Town.
Yeah.
You just have, and if you watch this movie, you'll understand what I mean. Alice is just like deer in a headlight, except the deer's been in a headlight for 40 years. It is just like the most blank stared like, I don't know what acting is. I ended up here because a long time ago, I was like a mall, like I did one of those mall runway things that kids do.
Yeah. This is one of those where, like, I think a lot of this movie suffers from pacing. It just like moves far too fast at times. Like even the way that people speak to each other, it's just like
it moves far too fast at times. But then later in the movie, it's like we have like a 3-minute sequence where fucking Alice does nunchucks in the mirror.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, this is the time to go quick. Earlier, you spread your legs, get to know the people, because they kill a lot of people in this movie very quickly. And none of those people you give a shit about.
Yeah, because you don't have enough time to get to really know them or care about them at all.
It's every single person is boiled down to 2 things. Well, not even. The original characters are boiled down to 1 thing. Kristen is afraid of Freddy. Kincaid has a dog. Joey is a sex pervert. He loves breasts and passing away. Those are his favorite things. In water, by the way.
Yeah.
But they all have their 1 thing. And then you get the new characters that's like Rick is a karate guy who is a sex. I guess he just has the 1 thing too.
Yeah.
But then like Sheila, asthma, inventor nerd chick. Debbie, working out, cockroach. End of list.
Yeah. Because Dan, who is kind of mainly introduced here, doesn't really have that.
No.
Dan Jordan is, we mentioned before, kind of the crush of Alice and Debbie. And, you know, he is new in town. He is played by Danny Hassel. He reprises his role in The Dream Child. He was also in a TV thriller in 1990 called The China Lake Murders and Reunion from Hell 2, which is a 2022 horror film that also stars Lisa Wilcox and Mark Patton.
Oh, cool.
So,
when we were watching this movie, and I'll be self-effacing here, when we were watching this movie the last time, I had made a lot of jokes, very rapid fire, about people's appearances.
Yeah.
About the way they looked. A lot of the look of these characters is very characterized because of the time it's in. Like their outfits are really kind of weird and dated. And we were talking about that. You made a really good point that the reason this one feels older and more dated is because the last one is in a mental institution. So it's like a hospital. So even an old hospital feels like a hospital.
Yeah.
But this is out in them streets in the 80s. So everything looks super 80s. Their clothing is dated. They're the whole, like Rick, the first time you meet him throughout most of the movies, wearing like a giant oversized tweed blazer.
Yeah.
With like a black, like A-frame shirt underneath it. Really weird.
very strange.
But yeah, the one thing I will say is that you meet Dan and he is like the jock, like captain of the football team. That's what his character seems like. He's not the stereotypical character.
No.
He seems plenty nice. People like him, especially our characters in this movie, like our leads seem to really like him. But he seems to take an interest in Alice and Alice takes an interest in him. And the only criticism I will stay with about these characters' appearances, because I'm going to try to be better, try to be nicer. I'm going to not be so judgmental or harsh. But she has a giant forehead. Oh my God. You could land a fucking aircraft carrier on her forehead. It is a 13 head. It is humongous.
That's why she does the bangs at points of this movie.
Amelia Earhart lost forever on the middle of her forehead. And he's just like, hey, I'm Dan, by the way. And it's like, Dan, don't do that. Don't do it. Unless that's what it is. Who is the Greek myth that falls in love with his reflection? Is that Narcissus?
Yeah,
Narcissus? That's what's going on, is that Dan loves his appearance so much that he looks at himself in the shine of her greasy ass giant forehead.
Oh my God.
I'm not cutting any of this.
No,
I
no.
want people to know that I don't like a big forehead. I have one, and I'm the only one who gets to have one.
I don't think your forehead's that big.
No?
No.
I've been told my entire life I have a 5 head. Seriously?
Yeah.
You just made my day. You don't smell bad.
Want to suck face?
Because of the movie.
They end up going to 1428 Elm to check out Freddy's house.
Which is interesting because this is another movie where you have a lot of the characters that are reluctant to come around to it, but the second they all come around to it, everyone's on board. And I like that. This is kind of, I think, the moment where people start to get there. Because because
Dan is new in town, they're having to explain to him kind of the history of the town and Freddy and the legends that surround it and things like that.
This is where Kristen's mom makes her reappearance. Same actress. This is a hilarious clip because it's her. And she goes, she's like, Kristen, get away from there. Get in the fucking car. Kristen's like, I gotta go, guys. And she goes, Andale. And it's like, man, you suck, bitch.
Yeah, she really sucks.
I hate your guts.
She's the worst.
But Alice sees, as they're leaving the house, Alice looks down and sees the chalk drawing from the beginning of Freddy's house with the red door. And she looks at it, and then she looks away and looks back, and it's gone. But it gives us, and I think this is a brilliant piece of visual storytelling because we've already seen her daydream a couple times. And then it's like, oh, but her daydreams like access, the dream, the place within this film where all of the plot is like revolving around. She doesn't have to go to sleep to get in there.
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay. And you kind of get, you start to build the pieces of what the movie would then go on to do. It is a lot of tell, but it's mostly show.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting because the last movie is a lot of tell. It is show as well, but it's like, I think the last movie leans on telling you what's going on and that everybody has powers in their dreams and Hypnosil keeps you from dreaming. And you have to do a lot of expository stuff because the stuff that they were kind of talking about, you have to explain. Because if the room of kids woke up from group therapy in the dream and everyone had a superpower, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
So you have to explain that. But in this one, seeing her air quotes, superpower play out is really, really good. I like this an awful lot.
Yeah, no. You're right. Because as she kind of begins getting the quote unquote powers, the personality traits of her friends, it is at first, especially like here in just a second, she's like smoking. And that's something that we early on see that Kristen smokes.
Yeah. Kristen also smokes like just anywhere, all over the school. And it's weird. It reminds me of our discussion about Freddy's Revenge because the coach is like in the school, like in his like the gym classroom, just smoking a cigarette. And it's like, man, I wish.
It was the 80s. It was a different time.
Now you can only smoke in a public library bathroom.
Yeah. You got to like stuff a towel down there. So
no, I mean, that's the only place you can smoke. Anytime I ever want to smoke anything, I got to go there.
You got to drive across town.
Got to smoke a little P to the C to the P.
Got a gallon. But yeah, Kristen goes home with her mom.
Yeah.
And her mother, being just awful, has given her sleeping pills.
Okay, Tuesday night kicks ass right here. This is so believable, so well performed because it's the panic. And she's like, do you have any idea what you've done? You fucking murdered me. And it's like, fucking her mom's like, Kristen, shut the fuck up, Kristen. And it's just like, oh God, just this obnoxious bird. And it's just like
the worst.
Yeah. And good performance. Do you remember when she was just like a head?
Yeah.
When Freddy decapitated her?
Yeah.
Why wasn't that real?
So
Nancy's mom died in real life. Anyway.
I guess they chalked that up to where it wasn't her dream that it was happening in. It was Kristen's.
Oh, whatever.
Whatever.
She runs upstairs in a panic, a blind panic. Really good performance. And she goes, dream somewhere nice. And then she falls asleep. And you mentioned to me that you really like the shot of that.
It is my favorite shot in the whole movie. It is one of those things where, like, at first I didn't exactly know how they were doing it, but it's like, it's one of those shots where the camera is craned up above looking straight down at her as she moves into the bedroom. And it's a long take where she runs, kind of from one side of the room to the other, and she digs through a drawer, and then she moves to another side of the room and she digs through another drawer, and she ends up like passing out on the floor, and the camera like follows her around and it spins around completely a couple of times until it finally kind of spirals down onto her sleeping body and like close up onto her eye. And
you mentioned the only thing that you would change is that the scene transition of her into the dream, you would have kept her face at the same orientation.
Yeah. I would have made it a match cut instead of like, it's almost a perpendicular, like 90 degree. She's on her side to being upright. what's funny is like I watched that and I was like, I don't know. I would love to see the rig that they used to shoot this, because like clearly it's got to be a set, and there's no ceiling, and they're just like and the Horror Returns just happened this last week to share a behind the scenes photo, and it is the crane from this bedroom scene.
Amazing.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think we can change our podcast's Facebook relationship status. Now, one thing I will say is that all of our good talk and like our happiness about finding kind of this podcast friend, I am going to cut all of that. And I'll tell you the reason. Because we are too young and too hungry for fans to send our fans somewhere else. This is a dog eat dog podcast game, and they are competing with us, which is why I mailed them a pinky finger.
Oh my God.
That's a bit from last week. Anyway,
whose is it?
That's the bit we don't know.
Oh,
it's Freddy Onions, because there's an onion in the kitchen that I'm looking at right now. This is a professional studio. We don't have a kitchen.
But yeah, Kristen wakes up she does dream herself up into something nice, which is place on a beach. 3
visuals in this scene that are worth talking about. The little girl building the sandcastle. She's like, "What's your name?" The little girl says, "I'm Alice." She's like, "Oh, I have a friend named Alice." The little girl's basically like, "I don't give a fuck. Leave me alone.
Did I ask?
Sandcastle." That's visual number 1.
You're telling me to pack sand?
Little buckets, my little castle-shaped buckets. I got one that looks like a turret. Anyway, it cuts out to the water, and it's an amazing prop, because it's like, it is both like a fin, but it doesn't look like a shark fin, because it's got like his fingers make like the ridges of like, you ever see
but
one
there
of those,
is like webbing in between.
Yeah, it's like one of those like angler fish, and their fins look like they're made of like a hand.
Yeah.
But it's got like, each fingertip has like a little nub of a Freddy claw on it, and it's so cute, and it cuts through the water, and it keeps cutting back to their conversation and back to the water, and then the glove bursts from the shoreline up into the sand. It's really cool, because that is dream logic.
Yes.
And then speaking of dream logic, it is the coolest, silliest, stupidest, most amazing reveal of any character of all time. The gloved hand cuts its way up through the sand, goes into the sandcastle, like kind of bursts into it. The sandcastle explodes, and Freddy is just standing there. He doesn't appear.
No.
He doesn't grow out of the sandcastle. He doesn't like drop down, or the fin doesn't transform. It's just bursts of sand. Freddy's there, and he's like, "What's up?" It's like, that's amazing.
And he puts on some sunglasses.
He does.
He looks cool.
He chases her into quicksand. Also really dream logic-y, because the quicksand kind of swallows her, and it's so funny.
So funny.
I love Robert Englund so much, because she is like going into the quicksand, and you can just see Freddy's impatience, because he's like not fast enough, and he just kicks her fucking head down into the quicksand. But then she doesn't sink into it and suffocate. She sinks into it down through the roof of the Elm Street house.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
It's a great, upside down set.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't fall through. She crawls across the ceiling.
Yeah, it's the
of
question
like the dining room.
It's a question of what would happen if you dug your way to China. And that's what would happen, is you'd be upside down, because your gravity would have...
In the Elm Street house.
Yeah, it's there. But yeah, she like walks about and explores, but eventually ends back up in the boiler room. This time, the boiler is very much alive.
Yes.
And I also like this visual storytelling, because the first time we were in the boiler, it's a static set. There's not a lot of movement. There's almost no sound, and there's almost no like visual cues of action or like business that any of the set is in the midst of. And then when you're back here, it's steam is bursting out of pipes. You see the like turn handles of different valves all spinning on their own. And you see fire dancing in the shadows in the background. And it's like, oh, Freddy's back, baby.
One of my favorite things about this movie that I really noticed on this one is the lighting for dream sequences. And you see it here in the boiler room a lot. It's very... kind of Suspiria-y, of like primary colors just splashed on walls.
That's a good pull. Yeah.
I wonder if like Joel Schumacher watched this film and was just like, you know what? That's what my Batman movies are going to look like in the next couple years.
Here's a fun story about those Batman movies. Carly, there's a theater out in like a city right next to ours, Brandon, and they have this old theater that plays like classic movies once a month on a Sunday for like that post-church crowd. It's a very, that kind of neighborhood. But they were playing Batman, and Carly's like, I hadn't seen it before. So she was super excited. She went with her family, and she didn't tell me which Batman it was. She texts me when it's over, and she's like, that was the worst movie I'd ever seen. But I thought she was talking about 89 Batman. I was like, what? And she was like, why would they cast Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face? And I was like, oh, okay, no, that makes perfect sense. Now I know what you're talking about.
But then Freddy begins taunting Kristen to reach out for somebody else. And unfortunately,
it's scary.
Yeah.
It's
because
like,
it's that he knows she can do it.
Right. He knows she can do it. And then it's also like, it reminds me of the Freddy's Revenge Seduction, where he's like, do this for me. And there's no reason to do it other than if you don't, I'm going to fucking kill you. And she does.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like she doesn't have enough power over like not doing. It's that thing of like, don't think of an elephant.
Right. Yeah.
And so she pulls Alice in.
Damn. The elephant I just thought of as sexy as hell. She pulls Alice in, and it's a good shot of Alice's like bare feet. You just see it cut from her because like when Freddy demands that, it happens in the clip that we played too, where Freddy demands somebody pull somebody else in, and it's like a window is there in the background that bursts open, and you can see that person sleeping or waking in the room that they are actually in the real world. But then Kristen's like screaming, no. And then Alice populates in the boiler room, and you see her bare feet walking across grated floor. And then the funniest fucking visual of all time, the thing that is funnier than fucking hell. And Kristen's like slapping Alice, like, wake up, which is funny because that wasn't in the script. Tuesday night was just like emote with your face. But she's smacking the shit out of her, and she's like, wake up, you need to wake up, you got to get out of here. And then Freddy picks Kristen up, and it might as well be just yeet, and he throws her into the window, which is now like behind the window is like a lake of burning liquid.
Yeah.
And it like sets her on fire. But the way he throws her,
it's ridiculous.
This is this movie's sheriff getting bent backwards from Friday 6.
Yeah.
It is not funny, but I can't stop laughing. Every time I see it, it makes me laugh so hard because she like cartwheels in the air like, no.
Well, yeah, that was her other power. She could do cartwheels and shit.
You're on a fucking roll tonight, dude.
I don't know why. But in this moment, we're shown again like the souls of all of his victims are like in his chest, and as Kristen's soul is then brought to him, she uses her power kind of one last time to instead send her soul and her power into Alice, who then vacates the dream world.
And she wakes up, yeah.
And she and Rick rush to Kristen's house, and they burst in her bedroom where she is burning on her bed.
Now, two things. The first thing I will say is the prop that is Freddy's chest. I understand that like basically the special effect was a bigger version of his chest that he stood behind, and it was like in the foreground, and that's how they managed to make the shot look so detailed. The Gandalf trick. But then the chest, it was actually her face, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So really, the way that they handle like the really out of the box way they handle a lot of the effects in this movie, I think adds dividends to the charm.
Oh yeah, the effects are incredible in this film.
Yeah, we watched the behind the scenes on the Blu-ray, which they really need to make a new Blu-ray.
Yes,
set.
They are working on one right now. A new big box set, steelbook. So we'll see what new features come out with it.
Are you going to get this one, or should I get this one?
No, I'll probably pick it up.
Well, yeah, I'll buy it, and then you can pick up my copies. And please put them back down, but that's fine. The other thing I want to say about this is that how the fuck did Kristen's mom not know that there was a human being? Because it's not like it is a raging fire.
Yeah.
How do you not know that? The house isn't that big. How do you not know that there is a human being burning alive upstairs?
She was downstairs being awful. That's all she does.
Just pouring like glasses of sherry into a syringe and just shooting up sherry.
Yeah. We can kind of move through our next couple of character deaths, because that's kind of how the rest of the movie kind of plays out for a bit.
Yeah.
We're back at school, and Alice and Sheila kind of have a moment in the bathroom where it's revealed that Sheila, who their friendship between like Alice and Sheila, and especially Sheila and Debbie, like, because they seem kind of combative with each other, but then it's like in the most like
sisterly sort of way.
Yes. Like, because they still like care about each other, and like, because in this moment, like, Sheila shows of like, hey, you know how Debbie's afraid of bugs? Well, I made this thing that like uses like ultrasonic, sound waves to scare bugs away. And so she's done that. They end up going to class, and they're taking an exam, and Sheila, like, the equations on her test start moving around, and then in big like Nightmare on Elm Street lettering,
which isn't tracked very well to the paper, so it like kind of stutters around on the paper. But what is it? Learning is more fun with Freddy, or
learning is fun with Freddy.
Yeah.
Which I just think it's fine. It's just kind of I wish there was like a pun or something instead.
You had said that you thought maybe it was a reference to something.
Yeah, maybe there was a reference in the like where's the beef? That sort of like a slogan for something at the time.
Yeah, if you're from the 80s and you know that, please hit us up. And also, if you're from the 80s and early 90s, if you got my hilarious Jamiroquai reference earlier, give us a like and follow. We're the only podcast talking about Jamiroquai, so
yeah, certainly.
Take that, The Horror Returns.
But like a lot of the rest of this, I like a lot the imagery for, because like her pen is like dripping blood.
Yeah.
And like whenever she tries to like smear it away, then a robot hand pops out.
Remember, everybody, inventor, asthma. Because a robot hand bursts out of the desk, inventor, and grabs her by the face and like scares the shit out of her for a second.
And then it disappears.
And then Freddy appears. And again, it's just like he's just there now.
Yeah. And Alice is also in this classroom, and like she is seemingly awake as well, because it's that thing of like they're both in the dream, but then they're in those like standard school desks where the table portion is like attached, and there's like a bar that closes on the other side so they can't get out. And I love it because it's the most like dream logic thing where it's like, well, have you tried just like climbing up out of the thing? But you can't because it's a dream.
And then Freddy is like, because remember, he's not a child predator. He's a child murderer.
Right.
But he's not a child predator.
That's a good distinction.
Except for he then says, you want to suck face to this very young, nerdy schoolgirl.
Yeah.
And then he does his tongue like, blah, 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 like, but with the claw is like open, like kind of like in a V shape. I don't know what that's really supposed to mean, but he does it. He's like, blah, 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 and he's like, let's go. And then he grabs her and he smooches her on the mouth. And then now this is a good special effect because this is an 80s movie, and it's also supposed to be like a silly dream movie.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of frightening because the face is so like realistically bizarre, and like
the light leaves her eyes, and like,
but like her eyes are like sunken but bulging because it's like, I wonder if that's what would happen to your head if all of the air left your head. But he inhales all of her air, seemingly also all of her muscles, bones, and blood. I smoke from time to time. I'll smoke like a cigar. Freddy smokes a person.
Yeah.
And that's wild.
It reminds me of like the late 90s, early aughts commercials, like the don't do drugs commercials of the kids who are like melted on the couch.
Yeah.
It's a similar feel.
It also reminds me of when I used to get all my blood, bones, and air sucked out of me by a nightmare demon. But she dies. Alice wakes up to the classroom and looks, and Sheila has suffered and died from an asthma attack. Like she is in her last breaths, died of an asthma attack. And Alice screams and is like, didn't you see him? He was right there. And it's like, okay, so you have an asthma attack in real life, but in your dream, Freddy sucks all your stuff out. See, it's so hard to defend that he's not a sex predator. Like,
yeah. But in this one, he's not.
Sure. God damn it. Then the next death is Alice is in like another classroom being taught by Robert Shea.
Yeah.
And this class is about the fact that Freddy's not a sex pest. It's Freddy's not a sex molester 101.
But they're talking about Aristotle's dream philosophies, and Robert Shea, the teacher here, talks about the dream master, which I guess is,
sure,
that's a thing.
I'm fine with that. But yeah, she has this like weird like sense that kind of almost seems to go off, like she knows something's wrong. And we cut to Rick taking a dump, which is funny because in Nightmare 2, Freddy's Revenge, when we go to the classroom, they are talking about fecal matter and shit, if you'll recall.
Yeah.
See, the lines are all over the place.
Yeah.
You just need to have the right yarn. But so he is on the toilet, defecating, and the door opens to the toilet. And like he looks around and like the walls and everything become different. They're like really, I said it reminds me of Cyberpunk, like the game. It's very like all covered in like neon spray paint, but the spray paint isn't any like realistic graffiti. It's just spattered paint everywhere.
Yeah, and it's like layers upon layers upon layers of this.
Yeah. But the door opens and a bunch of cheerleaders like rush in the room. And then also there is, in his dream, is his sister Alice. My assumption is because now that she has Kristen's ability, she is just kind of dream hopping and going into people's dreams. It's how she was able to see Sheila get her face sucked by a not molester. And in this moment, I think it's funny because Alice is surrounded by cheerleaders because of Give Me an F.
Oh, yeah.
It's the second joke I made about that movie in this episode.
That's good. We got to find a third one.
We're losing it, guys.
I love this like kind of set change that happens because as the cheerleaders then just kind of like file back out, Kristen is there and she's like in the mirror talking to him, and he can see himself still asleep sitting on the toilet in the mirror, but then he's looking and talking to her. And then as she turns around, she then reveals her burned face. And I think it's
like body double and then cut, swap, body double.
I believe so.
Yeah, it's seamless.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah. But then he's like, but now this toilet stall is an elevator.
Yeah.
Which is great. And then the next part of this isn't great. It's really stupid. And there's a really good reason that it's stupid. Guys, sometimes when you're making a film, you have people that work on your film and they're unavailable for whatever reason. This is an obvious example of their lead being unavailable. Robert Englund clearly was not there.
Yeah.
So remember how Rick likes karate?
I do.
Well, he karate fights Freddy's glove and a disembodied voice because the explanation is Freddy's like, how are you going to fight when you can't see, bitch? And Rick's like, I've taken down bigger foes than you. And it's like, what?
But his mouth doesn't match what he said.
Yeah, and he's got like green spiky hair.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently his death was originally supposed to happen in the elevator with like the elevator like dropping and then eventually like falling apart around him and him just falling into like just nothingness.
That's pretty cool.
But they had already run out of money, and so they couldn't afford to do that effect. And so they were like, well, we just won't have him die. But they had already shot his funeral scene.
Hilarious.
So they were like, well, we have to figure out something. So then they just went with this. But it's like, to me, that means, did you already have a dojo set? Or like, how much did this cost?
Right. Well, I mean, it to be fair, it looks like a Sears photo package.
Yeah.
It is like the most unimpressive bullshit. It also looks like, because there's like no walls.
Yeah.
The walls are all like sunlight and like blue skies. So it looks like they're like having a karate fight in heaven. It's really fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it have been better if he was in the elevator and like he heard a noise, so he turned around to do like a karate chop, and he like karate chopped, like he accidentally karate chops the wall, and the wall breaks open, and Freddy's behind it and just stabs him. Because I bet that would have cost fucking nothing.
Yeah.
But, that is the one thing in this movie that I don't think that there's an excuse for. I think it's just a poor decision. Your situation sucks. You're out of money. We have seen some people in our show's history. We have talked about some people who do some amazing fucking stuff with no money. And this feels bad.
Yeah, real bad.
This ain't no Evil Dead.
Evil Dead it is not. Yeah. Dumb. I don't like this scene at all.
Not at all. It diminishes the movie.
Yeah. But then, we move to his funeral and we get basically just another one of Alice's visions that he is still alive.
But this is also an annoying sequence to me because like they have in the beginning, they try to do this thing where he's like a guy who does like this bit that like he's famous for. He was like, hey, baby. And like he does that to Kristen. And then he does that to his dad, and it's supposed to be like a funny joke. And his dad's like, I'll fucking kill you, you piece of shit. And he's like, whoa, that's hyperbole, but it's kind of like that. And so then the coffin opens and he does that again. It's like his eyes come open. And he's like, hey, baby. And it's like, you didn't spend enough time developing this character for that to not just be weird that he's saying that to his sister.
Yeah. And I don't really know what we gain from this little scene other than... I don't know.
I have no idea.
Because by the end of it, like she snaps out of her little vision, and then she tells Dan and Debbie, that they've got to work to defeat Freddy, and that it's mind over matter, which is something that Sheila said earlier. So it's like them noticing that Alice is now taking on the things that her dead friends used to do.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier she's smoking in the courtyard at school, whatever.
Then she goes home and she does some nunchucks that were Rick's.
And it's real stupid.
Yeah.
One of the things that works for me in this movie is you establish Freddy again. And I think you really didn't do this in the last movie. In the last movie, he's more of like a force of nature. He just does. In the first movie, he's cunning. He's like a killer. In the third movie, he kills them. But in this movie, it's like the way he's killing them is interesting and leads the adults to not believe the kids.
Yeah.
Because in in 3, it's almost impossible to not like have some credibility to that. They're in a very small space having the exact same shared psychosis. And after a while, even Dr. Gordon, who's like a fucking PhD, is like, okay, yeah, no, something surreal is happening. Yeah.
No, I agree. And it's just the difference that like certain directors or certain writers take Freddy in different ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
The next sequence I really do like, but we don't need to spend a ton of time on because it leads us back to our clip. But Alice is supposed to meet up with Dan outside the diner. But whenever she gets there, he is already gone. And so she goes to a movie theater, and it's very dreamlike because it ends up being a dream. Yeah.
Reminds me of part 2 where Jesse is just like kind of wandering and goes to like the S&M bar and all these places. It reminds me of that.
Yeah. And she goes into this theater where, what we had mentioned before, where like on the screen, all of a sudden it starts showing a like rundown version of the Crave Inn diner that she works. And, wind starts blowing and she gets sucked into the screen.
Yeah.
And there's to me, it's a really haunting image as she ends up on the other side of the screen, and it's black and white film. And she is like going into the diner then in the film screen. And as she looks back out toward the theater now, all of her dead friends are there like applauding her. And it's just, I don't know. It's very haunting to me.
It's haunting. In a modern movie, it would have been like, they all would have had like crazy fucking faces, or they all would have been like gaunt or whatever, and they would have messed with them. But it's even creepier because they're applauding and waving, but they look fine. They just look vacant.
Yeah.
And it's, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Halloween Town, where what is it? Kalsabar, I think is the villain's name. And all of the people in Halloween Town sitting in that movie theater are looking at the spiraling screen, and they're all just like kind of brain dead. It reminds me of that.
Yeah, no, that's a good pull. But this leads us back to the diner, which was our clip with the awful meatball pizza.
Yeah, a truly horrible. Then we have Debbie's death, because that scene ends with the music from Sinead O'Connor is Debbie listening to that music while working out. And she's working out by lifting a barbell. But what's cool is that as she's lifting the barbell, her weights are like kind of metallic, like a little reflective. And as she lifts it up the once, it doesn't happen. And then she lifts it up again, and you see Freddy's reflection in the barbell. And I just think that's really cool.
Yeah.
They play with reflection a lot in this scene in a way that you pointed out that you really like. I kind of just took it for granted, but you pointed that out. And I do think, in hindsight, that it's special. She is lifting it. And then like a spotter, you just see his hand, his burnt ass fucking hand, and his glove land on it. And he pushes down as she's pushing up, and her arms like right at the elbow, like snap.
Yeah.
And it's pretty gross.
Yeah.
And he says something awesome like, let me give you a hand or something.
Yeah, something like that.
He's like, your arms are broken, you stupid asshole. And she's like, whoa, that's so cool.
And as she kind of gets up and runs away from the weight bench, what you were referring to is like he takes that barbell and he tosses it forward, and it shatters what is now revealed to be a mirror
that we have been watching this entire sequence through.
Yeah.
And it's like because that's also very like, it's like a cold glass of water that you think you're watching something real, and then it shatters, and immediately things get weird because her arms,
like the skin like slough off.
And then she's got weird floppy rubber bug arms.
Yes.
Now, I don't think this looks good.
No?
No. It would look better if they had removed, like, if they had pulled her arms behind her back or something. It looks like she's wearing rubber puppet gloves. Like, it looks very fake. The rest of this is really cool. It's also this may be the most disturbing kill in any movie I've ever seen, with the exception of the clip that I've seen from the remake of The Thing where the two faces can join together, because that one really bugs me. But this one bugs me because it's bugs. But she is like flappy arms, and then you can tell that she's like walking on this like kind of shiny yellowed surface floor, and is in this what looks at first to be like a long narrow hallway.
Right.
With like kind of braced beams in it, like maybe like a barn or something. It is revealed to be a roach motel.
Right.
And Freddy kind of shakes it a bit, and she falls face first into the roach bait, the trap, like the glue trap. And as she tries to lift her head, can you do this? Because it fucking weirds me out.
Yeah, it's like the rest of her skin kind of peels and burns away, revealing her to now be, it appears to us as a giant roach, but it is just a standard roach that is in this roach motel that Freddy, and like behind it, I'm sure either green screened in or rear projectioned in or something, is like Freddy's eye looking in at her. And then we cut to the outside of him holding the roach motel, peeking in. And
you have the funniest little thing where it's like, you know what? I don't think I've used this sound effect. Like, we don't use the board effects ever, but I'm going to use it right here, because you've got like, as he's looking through it and it cuts out and it's just him holding it, you have like a voice that's playing, and it's like, it's not really clear what she's saying, but we have a pitch up on this board. So I'm going to use it here, because she's like, and then he just crushes the roach motel, and it's like a bunch of yellowish red orange gunk pours out of it.
Yeah.
Grossly enough, it's the same gunk that is on the meatball head that he eats.
Yeah.
Which visually I kind of like. I mean, granted it's disgusting, but I kind of like the idea that like Freddy's dream sadism has like a rotted, putrid gunk that accompanies it. Like, it just makes it feel uniform and disgusting.
Yeah. The effects in this scene are done by an artist named Joji Tani, but they're better known as Screaming Mad George. I'm sure you heard me react to that in the opening credits of the movie.
I did, yeah.
Because I love to see his name on things. But he's a Japanese special effects artist. He's best known for his like surreal, gory special effects. Before this, he had worked with Stan Winston some on Predator. And then he had also worked on the John Carpenter film Big Trouble in Little China. And he did some work on Nightmare 3. I'm not exactly sure which sequences in 3 he did. But this is where his style really became apparent. Later, he would go on to work with Brian Yuzna for several movies like Society, Bride of Reanimator, and Beyond Reanimator, I think is that third sequel.
Okay.
But he just has a style that once you know it, like you can kind of pick it out whenever you see it in other movies.
Yeah. It's gross.
But yeah, it's very gross.
Yeah. Gross. It's slick. Everything's like shiny. Our friend group has always referred to that as Resident Evil wet.
Yeah.
It's like everything's kind of like meaty and raw and biological.
But I love Screaming Mad George. I think his work is great.
Yeah.
While this is going on,
I was going to say, you cut from footage of what we just described. The entire time that's happening, you keep cutting back to, and the first time it happens, it's she, being Alice, gets back to the diner and sees Dan outside and is like, hey, no time to talk. We need to leave right now. I'm driving. And they get in their truck and they drive away. And then it cuts back to Debbie's murder, probably like her arm's getting snapped or whatever. Then it cuts back to the diner out front of the Crave Inn diner. And she goes, hey, we need to get the fuck out of here. No time to explain. I'm driving. And they drive away. And it is like, it
repeats like 4 times.
Well, and the first time we watched, in the beginning of the episode, I mentioned that the first time we watched through this as a rewatch, I was preoccupied. I thought you had gone back. So I didn't notice. But then it happened again. Because it keeps repeating the same dialogue, the same sequence. It repeats 4 times. Only at the 4th one do they like
Dan finally is like, he repeats the same thing at the same time that she does. And it's like, this has happened before. Which
is also a really good way to reveal that someone's figured that out. It's like the Groundhog's Day.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yes.
I think that is the most cerebral and intelligent thing that they do in the movie using dreams is. And this is what I was saying about Freddy being, sort of a planned killer in this is like, I'm going to kill your friend. I do not want you to fucking bother me while I do that. So I'm going to put your ass to sleep and I'm going to make you dream the same thing over and over and over. I'm going to stick you there. And it's like, that's smart.
Yeah.
It lends him capability. It lends him, like a predatory nature, something that is beyond just, I'm a silly guy.
Right.
It's scary that he has the ability to do that, because if they hadn't figured it out, if they weren't, if he wasn't with the Dream Master, how long would it have taken him to figure that out?
Yeah. How many loops are they going to do before? Yeah.
Yeah.
Freddy appears before them in the truck and Alice goes to run him over and slams into like, in the dream world, it looks like just an invisible pole.
It's the same visual in the first episode of The Boys on Prime, where the armored truck has been hijacked and it's driving, and Queen Maeve lowers her shoulder and like bisects the truck because she is an immovable object. It looks really, really good.
Yeah. It's a hell of a stunt.
It is. Yeah.
And then in the real world, it's revealed that they have slammed into a tree.
Like he has put them to sleep and they hit the tree, which they do a couple more times in this franchise. Play with, sleeping behind the wheel.
Yes. In the next film, especially. But this kind of, Alice rushes, they take him to the hospital. They take Dan to the hospital. And this kind of moves us then to our finale where, they're going to have to put Dan to sleep for surgery. So Alice then rushes home to take...
I thought you meant like euthanize him.
Yeah, they're going to put him down.
There was a full second where I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, yeah, his quality of life's gone. We're going to have to... We're doctors. We took an oath. We got to shoot this little man in the head. Oh, man.
I got to get my medical gun out of the drawer here.
This is a scalpel, but this is a medically euthanizing scalpel. It looks the same. It is the same. It's just one of them we used for surgery, and the other one we just kind of stick him in the neck with it. That's why the knife is in Tommy's room in Friday 5.
Oh, great. Yeah, no, thank you. That solves that problem.
We've been thinking about that for weeks now. Guys, we figured it out.
It's kept me up. But she rushes home and takes sleeping pills. And then we get her superhero suit up sequence here where she
Absolutely ridiculous.
Puts on all of the different things that she has gotten from her friends and her nunchucks and her...
she gets her cigarettes.
Yeah, and she rolls them up in her sleeve because she's cool and from the
James Dean.
50s.
Yeah.
And she has the bug
zapper thing that Sheila invented.
And as she's doing this, she's peeling away all of the pictures to finally reveal herself as the hero that she is.
Dream Master. It doesn't work.
And then it's a subtle thing here, PJ. But she jumps through.
She drop kicks the fucking mirror.
And so her name being Alice, you can infer from that this is now Alice through the looking glass.
Oh. No longer Alice in Chains.
No. That was earlier.
The man. So the reason she jumps through the glass, by the way, is because Freddy is in the dream about to kill Dan, but it's not really creative. He's just gonna stab him.
Yeah.
Like he's
run
doctor.
out of... Dan doesn't have any bits that he can play with. He's just kind of like, I don't know. What is he? He's a sports guy?
Football, maybe? Do I kill him with a football? Oh, I know how I'll kill him. I'll give him a bunch of concussions, but I'll keep making him play.
Wow.
Ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-bum. So he, oh God, we're going to get so sued. He is interrupted from his Dan murdering because, Alice smashes through this fucking mirror and you would think it'd be cooler.
Yeah.
But it's not.
They run through these hospital, hallways, and they go into like a funhouse tunnel that Freddy spins around, and then they kind of slide down the other end, and they end up in this church. And Dan starts bleeding out and ends up waking up back into the real world where the doctors do save him.
Yes.
But Alice and Freddy, they fight for a bit.
Yeah.
Alice gets to show off all of her acrobatics and nunchuck skills. And
it's nothing remarkable.
Nah.
That none of the, and I don't mean like her performance. It's like the action, none of the choreography. There's like nothing to talk about. It is it is a boss fight in a boring game. It is they fight each other and then that's over. But the next effect may be, and I watched behind the scenes stuff with you. It may be the most impressive thing I have ever seen in my entire life as far as how they did this special effect. Very basically, she defeats Freddy. And they have kind of experimented with ways to defeat Freddy in the past. In the first movie, Nancy defeats him by no longer giving him any thought. I don't believe in you anymore, she says to Freddy. And then he kind of like, disappears. And that I think is the most effective piece of storytelling is in the first one. I'm not giving you my effort. I'm not giving you my energy. I don't believe in you. You're just a goblin. Go away. And he does. In the third one, you have to vampire him. You have to, same thing that you had to do with Jason, apparently. You got to take these guys back to wherever, throw some dirt on them, and don't let dogs near them. Yeah. And then in this one, it's like, how would you describe?
She blasts him with the bug zapper thing.
Right.
At first. And then he has the coolest line ever of, I am eternal.
Yeah.
And then she like remembers the whole rhyme of the Dream Master thing. And she says the Lord's Prayer, but with her own lyrics. And she picks up a piece of the like stained glass or a mirror or something. And because the line is, now I lay me down to sleep. The master of dreams, my soul I'll keep. In the reflection of my mind's eye, evil will see itself and it shall die. And so she like shows Freddy a reflection of himself.
Right.
And then he staggers back against, I don't really know what this piece of furniture is.
It's like the altar of this church. Yeah.
And
looks like a
he
Lutheran
is,
church or something.
Shrieking, and the camera like pushes in through his mouth and then just through his body in this tunnel of just writhing bodies and a white light. And it's the most metal thing ever.
Okay, so here's the contradiction, right?
Mhm.
Because immediately after that happens, literal arms begin to burst out of his skin. They tear through his sweater. They rip out the back of his fucking head. Like the Deadpool mask famously has like that little flap of
Yeah.
extra fabric. It's like where that is, an arm bursts out of the back of his skull and grabs the thing behind him to anchor him in place. And he's like rolling his head around and screaming. And then like his stomach and chest, where all of the faces were earlier, where we see Kristen's head, they're like tearing out of him. Arms are ripping flesh and tearing out of him. Now that effect, and you and I watched this behind the scenes together, is they built like a 20-foot tall Freddy animatronic that would
Yeah,
like
to an extent. The chest piece with the
with arms that could move and be puppeted, and a neck so that you could get that close in. You could see like in the behind the scenes footage, you could see that they had built like up to where the neck would cut off near the collarbones.
Yeah.
And then they had fucking actors tear through the stomach. That's crazy to do it that way.
Yeah.
You could do miniaturized arms or puppets, but it's like
and it's a mixture of all of that, because you have Robert Englund in a build where there is a fake body in front of him that they are puppeting through. Then you have that cut with the giant chest with actual people pushing through it. And so it's you cutting around all of that. You can't.
It just looks amazing.
Yes, it is. This whole sequence is one of the most impressive things in the whole franchise.
But here's my problem, because you're right. It is visually. When I think of like Freddy's nature and him being like this burnt, shattering corpse that is held together by the souls of children whom he murders for sport, seemingly with no reason, which I will always argue that makes him scarier. He does not have a reason.
Yeah.
He just liked killing children and he wants to get revenge. But in this movie, by this point, he's gotten his revenge. Now he's just hungry for more. And that's fucking awesome. But what leads you here, what makes him do this, what defeats him is his reflection. You fucking kidding?
Yeah.
That is the most weak tit. That it's awful.
Yeah.
That's awful writing.
It's like, how could we not come up with anything better than that?
Do you sincerely expect your audience to believe that Freddy has never caught a glimpse of himself anywhere? If so, Freddy sees himself and he implodes. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, and it also whacks the heads. It like whacks it over your head like a magazine. It's like, oh, did you enjoy everything that we were setting up?
Yeah.
Well, now you can't anymore because this is just too dumb.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. Like that's the reveal.
It's just anything. And I usually try to on the fly come up with something better that would defeat him, but I honestly can't. Because this is just anything's better. Freddy could have a fucking grape allergy and she flicks a raisin into his mouth. Like anything is better than this. It's wild.
Yeah, especially because we have like in the last movie, we've built on this idea of a way to defeat him. And then we like
immediately do away with it.
You can't do anything over that, I guess. But it's like, okay, well, I don't know. There needed to be something else.
I mean, because then why are they even in a church?
Yeah. And this is a church that we kind of we return to in a way. It may not be the exact same set, but it's a similar church in the next one.
We mentioned this in our review of 3, where we talk about the fact that needing to take him to a ground where he was like, where he needs to be buried and then consecrate him is a very holy way to do that. So you were essentially classifying him as a demon. I'm fine with that. Do more about that. Do make him an unholy thing. If you want to bring religiosity into it, do that. There's no problem with doing that. Making him a servant of hell unleashed on these kids, I don't mind that.
Have his mother appear to them in the church
At any point.
and him seeing that and realizing who and what he is makes him the souls burst out of him. Have her bless him in the dream world.
Here you go. Alice now has all of these kids' superpowers or whatever, and they've made that a point of that. But then she can go, I have the power of them, and I'll have the only power that matters. Kristen is the Dream Master, And when she died, she gave me her soul. And now I can bring other souls into the dream too, and brings his dead fucking mother's soul in, who appears and consecrates him yet again.
Yep.
How much better of an ending is that than now I lay me down to sleep, mirror? It's like, no.
It's a lot more powerful. It's a lot more thematic to what you had already built on.
It also does, because they kind of touch on that later on, and they've already touched on that here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I think those brothers who pretended to be that one guy are pretty fucking dumb for this one.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And what's his name? Like Sports Cabbage or something super weird. Whatever that name is in the beginning.
Yeah. He had just come up with the Dream Master idea in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, Freddy's defeated.
E.T. could touch him, bring him back to the green planet. Freddy would suffocate. There's no oxygen there.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
The epilogue here is short. Alice and Dan are walking through a little park, and there's a fountain, and they're both kind of chatting of like, well, I'm getting more sleep than I had been, you know, blah blah blah. And they go to throw. Dan throws a coin in there, and it's just, you know, hey, well, what did you wish for? And as the coin like dips into the water, when Alice looks at the reflection, she sees Freddy's reflection in the water, and then it's not there. And, you know, it's that you get a little bit, I think, of that audio sting like normal. And it's that, it's the thing of like, yeah, we've defeated evil, but like, if this thing makes a bunch of money, like it probably is we're going to make another one, guys. Don't worry.
Well, yeah,
he's not dead forever.
The meta part of that is that where you always sequel bait, because if you sequel bait, you can make the sequel. But then I think thematically, it also doesn't hurt the movie, because it's like, you got to remember everything you're doing to him is in a dream.
Yep.
So was it real? It's part of, I think, the mythos of Freddy Krueger, I think, is so interesting because, yeah, he exists in dreams. Dreams are not real. So anything that you are doing to him, is he manipulating you?
Right.
You cannot tell. Oh my God. The thing that stands out the most about this movie to me is evidently how much Robert Englund has grown into this character. And he talks about in the behind the scenes footage that we were watching, he talks about his dad coming to visit him on set. And it's when they were doing Kristen's face bursting out of his chest the first time in the dream that Alice shows up in the dream, about probably third of the way through the movie. And he's like buckled into this big rig doing these special effects. And he's like, yeah, my dad comes and sees his son, the classically trained actor. And it's like, but I think him being that and being so professional about it, but also giving himself the opportunity to spread his legs and do this fun, silly thing and take it so seriously. It's the Michael Caine Muppets effect where, yeah, it's a silly premise. It's a silly character, but he takes it so fucking seriously that you believe it.
Yeah.
You believe this guy is as dangerous as the movie wants you to think he is as psychotic and evil. Freddy is just pure fucking evil. And part of that evil is he loves being evil. And Robert Englund just knocks it. As good as he is in the last one and as good as he is in the first one, I mean, you don't get better of a Freddy performance. That's where this movie shines for me.
Yes, truly it is. And I think what's funny is we've found that through most of the franchises we've talked about so far.
Yeah.
Is there seems to be like a character or a performance that kind of carries through most of them. And that is, I mean, getting to watch Robert Englund do Freddy things in this is the best. His one-liners, it's a little more borderline on the groan in this one than it was in 3, but it's like it's the next step of that. But we haven't gotten to a point where I'm like, ooh, this was bad.
No, but the dialogue for Freddy in this one isn't. It is much more like, you know, the meme about CSI Miami where it's like, looks like this one's gone cold.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's more of that joke telling, but they're still funny. They're still really dark and irreverent.
Yeah.
But then he says things like, you shouldn't have buried me. I wasn't dead.
Yeah.
Or like, I'm eternal. And he says these like, it is like, yeah, I'm a sex pest from the 70s and 60s who got burned to death by angry parents after I didn't do things to their kid, whatever. You know, yes, that is what I am, but I am now an undead predator that is murdering people in their sleep.
Yeah.
And it's like, you get that dichotomous relationship between being like sinister in an explainable human way and then being sinister in a demonic otherworldly way. And I think this movie walks that line pretty well.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Speaking of this movie,
Mm-hmm.
do you recommend Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 Dream Master?
I do recommend.
Oh, good.
Do you recommend?
I do. I think as much as I said the third one is the one that you could start and end this franchise with, I think that this is an incredibly good sequel to the third movie.
Yeah.
I don't think it adds a lot to the franchise, and I don't think that it in particular is a wonderful movie, but I think it's a companion piece to the last film, which is incredible.
Yeah.
I think that this one has its moments as well.
Yeah. My big question, like my big thought process on this is like, what do you think if Patricia Arquette could have, would have, should have come back? Like, what do you think that movie would have been then? Do you think they would have killed those characters off as soon as they did? Or do you think that like Kincaid and Joey and Kristen would have still been our leads?
I think in the world where they get Patricia Arquette back, Patricia Arquette, then the character of Kristen then begins to daydream and and fulfills that role. And then her friends die. Her new boyfriend dies. You don't have the character Alice. That's how the movie changes, is that Kristen continues to be our through line and all of those other characters die.
Yeah. I would have probably rather seen that.
It's not that Tuesday Night is bad.
No.
It is that Alice's actress is bad.
Yeah.
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 And I'm not even dunking on her. It's just she is not a personality. She's not a charisma strong enough to lead this franchise.
No.
Which they then do, which is like, what?
Yeah, for at least the next one.
Which you were willing to recast Patricia Arquette. Certainly you can recast. Just throw water on a different blanket and slap it in front of the camera.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you got anything else I mean, the effects and Freddy are really like where this movie shines, I think.
Effects and Freddy. Effects Freddy, and it's always fun when Kincaid is in these movies.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He's in it too little, but I love it.
His moments are incredible.
I like watching him get sucked through the wall.
That's always good. Good dog actor with Jason. Does some good stuff.
It's funny because the other dog actor that we always mention is Gordon from Final Chapter, but then Dr. Gordon is the doctor in the last movie. So actually, I think we did a bit about that.
Yeah, they're the same characters.
Yeah.
I guess my last point would be, as Walt Disney once said, I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it all started by a dog pissing fire.
Thanks for tuning into the Third Channel podcast. Please, if you have the time, rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any of your favorite podcast apps.
You can follow us on social media at Third Channel Podcast, and you can find me online at ThatDRosenberg.
You can also reach out to us at thirdchannelpodcast@gmail.com, where we check every message we swear. Third Channel is hosted by PJ Minette
and Derek Rosenberg. Theme song and audio engineering by Fly Guy Ty.
The logo designed by Belle DeVelco.
Episode artwork by Nathan Walkington.
Keep it tuned right here to the Third Channel for all things horror. And remember, don't touch that dial. Egg salad and eggs.